Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are on the planet. Hope you're well. Hope your bass playing's going great. Welcome to Brooks's Bass Corner, live chat 117, coming to you on the 10th of June, 2025. Very important live chat today. So, anyone who's followed the social media community tab here on the channel, I did a very quick impromptu live chat on Sunday. So basically the last 2 days were the 30th anniversary of me turning professional as a musician, as a bass player. Not sure where 30 years have gone. I know they've gone though. That's for sure. Been a crazy couple of days trying to get my head around it. Known for, obviously, throughout the year, there've been various videos dotted about here on the channel that it was coming up, and I was thinking, crikey, I just don't know where 30 years have gone. It feels like 5 years since it was 10 years. It just flies by. If I give you any advice, people, make the most of your time. I spent, or have spent, the best part of 30 years traveling the world, being in bands, doing gigs, done 4,500 shows. Couldn't tell you where they've gone. It's been a hell of a ride. I'm hoping there's going to be another 20 years to go yet. But from me to you, enjoy your time. If you're out there gigging, if you make a living as a musician, enjoy it. Sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes there are various things come your way. People being a pain in the backside, gigs mucking you about, people trying to rip you off. It's hard. It ain't easy. I get people come on the live chats occasionally and we talk about this sort of stuff and they say, oh, well, you know, you got it made. And da, 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 da. Believe me, I have worked my ass off to get to this point. So the fact I've got to 30 years, I said it to my mum. She said, you make me feel so old. It's like, that's 30 years past. It's just gone, you know, blink of an eye, it's gone. So tonight is celebrating 30 years. 30 years of doing this, 30 years of being a bass player, being a musician. I look back on all the places I've been to, the people I've interviewed, met my idols. If you told me I'd write for the biggest bass mag on the planet when I was starting this, I wouldn't have believed you. If someone had said, oh, you're going to sit in a room with Larry Graham for 3 hours, or you're going to be on the phone to John Taylor, or you're going to meet Mark King over and over and over again. You're going to see him at the bar. You're going to sit in his flat. You're going to have a cup of tea. You're going to make him a cup of tea. Not that he bought the milk. He didn't buy the milk. You know, Nathan East, Lee Sklar, all these people. I go back through the list of interviewees that I've got on my hard drive, all those audio files, and I look back and I think, how did I cram all that in? You just do. You do it at the time. But, you know, it's been an absolute blast. But I'm not finished yet. We've got another 20 odd years to go yet. So let's look back when we hit the big 50 maybe, and see what the next 20 years has in store. Let's see. But it's a bit of a celebratory live chat tonight, so feel free to get a drink. I've got cake, so cake's very important. I was disturbed that the Tesco's in Gerrard's Cross yesterday, none of their cakes were less than full whack price. Normally there's deals going on. None of their cakes had deals. I was mortified. So as a result, and I wasn't overspending on the cake, frankly, not their prices. Crazy. Anyway, we have chocolate muffins for the win. And I've got a very, very nice bottle of red wine that was given to me by my band a couple of weeks ago for my birthday. So we've cracked that little beauty open. It's just breathing away, so very nice. Yeah, belting. So we're going to have a little libation. I'll toast you all for attending the live chat. And all's good. Right, let's see who we got on here. Dawson, congratulations on 30. Well done, young sir. Gareth Harrison, good to see you. Thank you for all the messages through the week. Visog, good to see you. Thank you for the messages on the shorts. David Gill, lefty bassist, sounds like a great 30. It's had its moments, I have to say. There's been some good times. There's been some not so great times. It's been a lot of hard work, a lot of graft. I know these fingers and hands could tell a few stories, that's for sure. It's all good. Goat noise for Jeff Goat, good to see you. How you doing? Welcome. Good to see you on here. So tonight, 117, live chat 117. Thank you for joining. Thank you for getting involved ahead of the schedules. Thank you to all new subscribers. We had a little subscriber surge last week. Thank you for all the likes, all the comments, all the shares. I've got my weekly recap report this morning and everything's on the up. It's all good. So if you've been watching the shorts, hope you've enjoyed some of them. They're remix shorts. So where we do these live chats, they all the live chats get put up onto the YouTube channel. That's just the way it is. And I thought it's time we delve back into some of them. There's some good stuff in there. Some great questions from you guys. So I started going through it and thinking, do you know what? This is really good stuff. So anyway, those shorts where I've been putting 3 up every day, that's remixed shorts from old live chats going back 4 or 5 years. So I'm working my way through those. I have a list of all the live chats right here. We're getting there. It's a big old list. Oh, you might not be able to see it. Light's too bright. But anyway, so I'm going through it. I'm whittling my way through it. It should be good. And there's loads of stuff. So I'm picking the best bits and putting it up there. So it's all good. So yes, thank you for all the likes, comments, shares, new subscribers. Fabulous stuff. Thank you very much. If you're new to the live chat, you've not been on one of these before, you're very welcome. It's good to see you. You're amongst friends. So just to pre-warn people, if you come in here and you find this live chat on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, whatever, and you come in here and you're obnoxious and you're rude and you're aggressive and sweary and a lot of agricultural language and you want to be a real pain in the ass, just don't bother coming in. Don't bother commenting because I will report your profile and I'll block you from the channel. So you will only get one message in and then you're gone. So, you know, I want people to come here, feel safe, have a chat. You want to get involved in the chat, you can. If you just want to sit and watch, that's fabulous. All very good. No problem. I've worked out that when we do the impromptu live chats and we're on the vertical format as opposed to this, which is the horizontal format, when we go to vertical format, suddenly YouTube throws it out there into YouTube Shorts land and vertical feeds. Then we get all the nutcases, and there's plenty of them, I can assure you. So on Sunday, I did an impromptu chat, and within 40 minutes, I think I'd reported and blocked about 40 profiles. Crazy. And they just sit there waiting to spew all this nonsense out. And it's like, I ain't having it. So I want the people to come to my live chats, frequent the channel. You are safe. We won't tolerate nutcases. And I want you to be able to get involved, enjoy the chat. You might learn something. If you know something that I don't and I say something and it's wrong, then you tell me and then we can share the knowledge. That's what it's all about. So that's the way we're running this ship. And so if you've not been here on the live chat before, you'll see this is the video screen. If you're on the mobile app, the live chat window is directly below. If you're on desktop version, live chat window is that way. There's a box at the bottom, post a comment, chat, whatever it says. I'm on the StreamYard platform, so it says post a comment for me. Put your insertion point or cursor in there, type your comment or question, press send. It'll appear here in my live chat feed. I'll then respond as best I can. You've got no sound. Really? Steffi hasn't got any sound. Can I just do a quick consensus? Has everyone else got sound out there? You've thrown me a curveball, Steffi. I'm assuming everyone can hear what I'm saying. So if someone could quickly reply and say, yes, Mike, we can hear what you're saying. That's great. I don't want to do a 20-minute preamble. You can hear me, Lee Bolton. Good to see you. Right, good. Where was I? Right, live chat window. So at the bottom, there's a text box, chat box. Put your comment in there. Send it. It'll appear here in the live feed. I'll respond as best I can. If you ask me a question, I don't know what the answer is. I'll open it up to the floor, and the fine people here on Brooks's Bass Corner live chat will help. That's what we're here for. So underneath the video, you'll see a thumbs up, thumbs down. Please give the video a thumbs up. It's the best thing you can do for the video, for me, for the channel. Thumbs up's vitally important. It promotes the video out via the algorithm on YouTube. If you're going to give it a thumbs down, then please leave a comment in the comments box. I can't make the videos any better if I don't know what the problem is. So if there's something you don't like about the channel, the videos, the live chat, leave a comment. I'll work on it, okay? Next to that, you'll see a share arrow, so you can share this video out to social media, out to your social media platforms. Please feel free to do that. There's a save icon, which allows you to save the video for future reference. Then you're going to see a love heart in a love heart with a dollar symbol in it. That's called super thanks. So if you find anything on this live chat you find really useful, really helpful, or any of the videos here on Brooks's Space Corner, because we're a monetized channel, hit that super thanks button. You can donate to the channel, keeps the channel running. Everything you see, everything I use to keep these videos going, the live chats, everything on Brooks's Space Corner, I pay for. We don't get anything for free. So if you want to help the channel, keep the videos coming, hit the super thanks button. Fabulous. If you're here on the live chat or you're watching it after the event, you're going to need to use super thanks. But if you're here live, next to the text box at the bottom of the live chat window, you'll see a rectangle with a dollar symbol in, and that's called super chat. So when we're doing live chats, you can hit that box, donate to the channel as you wish. You don't have to. The videos are free to watch, but it will help me, help the channel, help this video. If we get super chats and super thanks on it, suddenly the algorithm goes, oh, that video's doing well. People are enjoying it, and it starts promoting it out, and it gets further and further. We get more bass players coming in, and then we share more knowledge. That's how it works. It's all good. Underneath the icons, you can see a description box in there. From tomorrow, you'll find timestamps, so you can zip through the live chat and see what we've talked about through the live chat. So if you're watching after the event, those timestamps are in the description box. Underneath that, you'll find affiliate links for the Bass Center here in the UK, Top Cashback, vidIQ, and StreamYard. And then after that, we have bass-related purchase affiliate links. So if you are buying a new bass, pedal, strings, amp, combo, gig bag, anything, bass accessories, whatever, you'll find affiliate links for Amazon worldwide, Tonebone, and Anderton's. So how that works, if you click on the link in the description box, find the item you want, add it to your shopping basket, go through with the transaction, pay for your item, and once it's shipped out to you, Brooks's Space Corner gets a very small affiliate commission. All those small commissions add up to a bigger amount, again, which helps the channel keep going. After that, you're going to find affiliate links for Brooks's Space Corner merch. We have, well, what am I wearing tonight? Hold on. Let's take this banner down a minute. Hold the bus. Here we go. So I used to do interviews for Bass Guitar Magazine and Bass Player. This is a Mark King quote shirt. There's a whole load of quote shirts up on the channel in the merch taken from his interviews. I own the copyright on the interview, so I can use the quotes. I've checked with Mark. I checked with Chris Squire's estate. I checked with Lee Sklar, and I checked with Nathan East, and they were all very happy for me to use their quotes. So it's all good. So if you're a Mark King fan, you want one of these shirts, it's a quote from an interview I did with him. You can find all of that using the affiliate links for the merchandise in the description box. Right, let's see who we've got on here. I saw lots of comments flying in there and I couldn't keep up. Right. Whoa, we got loads of people. Okay, Goat Noise, good to see you. Keith Doherty, thank you for the happy anniversary. Thank you very much. Steffi, good to see you. I hope those bass lessons are going good. Bill Derbyshire, good evening. Many congratulations on the 30 years. Thank you very much. How was Royston? Wet. Extremely wet. I'll tell you about the weekend in a second. I'll just get through these messages. I'll tell you about Royston, and I think we're there this weekend as well, in a different place. I'll tell you about the weekend in a second. Steffi's sorted her sound out fabulously. Borton, Ollie, sounds all good for you. Fab. Lee can hear me. Good. Keith can. Dave Gill can. Sam, Cherry, you didn't respond to my email. I sent you a quote for the servicing work on your bass. I did it, might have been the day after the live chat or the day after that. But anyway, I did send it because it's here in my sent mail messages. I sent it on the 3rd of June at 8:47. So if you haven't checked, there'll be a message in your inbox from me regarding setting up, servicing your bass, restringing it, all of that stuff. Thank you for the happy 30th. Thank you very much. Visog, loud and clear. Good. James Howard, good to see you. If a little quiet. I'd turn it down a bit because I could see it was going into the red before we started the live chat. Is that better? Is that better for you guys? Give the little input, a little tweak there. Gareth can hear me loud and clear. That's good. James, you're deaf. Okay. Aren't we? We're all getting that way. Where's the thumbs up? If you look, are you on the mobile app or the desktop app, Lee? If you're on the desktop, there should be a row of icons under the video screen. There's a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Give it a thumbs up. If you're on the mobile version, that's a good question. Because I'm on StreamYard here, so I'm recording live through StreamYard, and then it gets pumped out to YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, blah, 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 blah. Someone help Lee there. Levi Craig, you are new to the channel. Never heard or seen you here on the channel before, but you're very welcome. Good to see you. Levi's already helping Lee. See, this is the sort of people we like here on Brooks's Bass Corner. Helpful people. Fabulous. Yeah, James Howard. Has anyone here tried an ACG instrument? Yes, I've reviewed many. What would you like to know? I know Alan quite well, so if you want to ask some questions, feel free. And also, all of us here, I can see Richard Fitton Perkins. I'll bring you to screen in about 2 minutes, young man. Anyone wants to contribute to an ACG discussion, we can do that. That's all good. Archie Groves, good to see you. Even the great Henry Chemistry couldn't avoid it. What we're talking about. I love it when people just come out onto the live chats out of nowhere and just stick a completely oblique sentence. I don't know what you're responding to there. Obviously something I said, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, if you'd care to follow that up with an extra sentence or two, that would be quite fabulous. J-Bass, good to see you. Might put a link to the MK t-shirt on your forum. I will do that. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a link. Let me just put it in here. You can copy and paste it. Hold on. Video details. So let's see. I'll give you the merch links and then you can take it from there. I can't see my merch links in there. That's crazy. Okay, 2 seconds. Let's just do this properly, shall we? Bear me a second. Michael John, you haven't been posting your merch links. Here we go. I'll stick this in the description, then I'll put it on the chat. So just bear me a second. So we will put it after the timestamps. So if you want Brooks's Bass Corner merch, there is literally about 170 items, 15 different designs. So help yourself. Go and take a look. There's tons in there. There really is. There's tons in there. Tons of t-shirts, hoodies, caps, beanie hats, phone cases. Just so much stuff. I can't even begin to start to go through all the items because we'll be here all night. But please feel free to have a look. It's a great way to help. Instead of doing a super chat or a super thanks, you get something for your money. So the price of the merch, obviously I don't get the full whack. I get an affiliate share, but I get a lot more than if you buy it through the merch at shelf here on the YouTube channel. So if you're watching this on the desktop or the mobile and you'll see loads of like merch icons and stuff, I get more if you use the direct links in the description box or all these links I'm posting here. But yeah, feel free if you want to if you find the Mark King shirt in the merchandise store, feel free to share that onto your page, Jay. That's you're more than welcome to do that. Steffi, no bass lessons for you lately. Been busy graduating from college. Congratulations. That's where I was 30 years ago. I did exactly the same. And as I was recounting on the impromptu live chat the other day, I literally at 5 o'clock on that Thursday, the 8th of June, as that went 1 minute past 5, that was it. I was a full-time musician. I wasn't a student anymore. I got absolutely leathered in the student bar, but that's by the by. Sammy, my bad, completely missed that. Got it now. Cool. Feel free to have a look at that email, Sammy. Wait until your exams are over. I just wanted you to know that it was there. You know, if you want to use me to service your bass, give me a shout. Lee, it's clipping for you. See, this is the thing. I knew the sound was too hot. Is that better? It'll get hotter if I'm right by the microphone like that. So I try to stay a bit away. Lee's on mobile, but someone's told you how to do that. A tad distorted. There you go. You see, you got to make sure the audio's not in the red on the input. You want it just green into a bit of orange, and that's normally what I'm going for. James Howard, you fancy a Krell with a filter EQ? Right, we'll get to that in a second. Done those. Steffi, you two again. See, we've had an upgrade on the BT Wi-Fi and broadband here. It should be fabulous. We get a 900 meg download, 150 meg upload. So I don't know why the sound is distorting. Let's just check all the cables, shall we? See if that's a little better. Okay, we will come back to the ACG thing in a moment. So last weekend, right, what did I have? So I had Oasis Tribute at Tri Festival in Letchworth, and we avoided the rain miraculously. I don't know quite how we did that. It was black as I was approaching the field where we were playing, outdoor festival. And it sort of pitter-pattered for about 30 seconds and stopped, and that was it. We had no more rain. Good gig, really enjoyed it. We definitely might be. We had a blast, so that was all cool. And then Saturday was the day where I thought we were going to get absolutely drenched. I was driving to Maldon in Essex. We were doing Soultasia Festival with Uncle Funk. And I'm driving around the M25, literally heading towards a black slate grey. It looked like an explosion in the sky, but it was an immense storm cloud. Blue sky either sides, but this huge thing looked like a UFO in the sky. And when I pulled up at the venue, everyone in the band had wellies on, and I was like, "It's coming, isn't it? We're going to get drenched." And I'd looked on the weather forecast for about a week prior, and all through that time leading up to the gig, we were due on stage at 1:30, and all it had was pouring rain, thunder and lightning, blowing a gale. And I just thought, we're going to cop it. And we were first on. But anyway, we did sound check, dark grey skies. Started getting towards showtime. Sun came out. So we did the gig. People coming in. All good. Had a blast. Said hello to George from Shack Attack and Jill from Shack Attack, who I did two albums with, actually. 23 years ago, a couple of tribute albums, and she was the singer on a couple of the tracks. But we'd never met, so I went and said hello. And did the gig, came off stage, bright sunshine. I'm like, wow, okay, we did all right there. Went and grabbed some food, got in the car, drove to my second gig in Royston, again with Uncle Funk. Once we got to Royston, it was bucketing down. I then get a message from various friends who were at Soultasia saying, it's now 5:30. It is absolutely thrashing down. The field is a mud bath. We've gone home. So literally there was our band, Shack Attack, Henry Cambridge, who's a Luther Vandross tribute. After that, all the other bands had pouring rain for the rest of the day. We got away with one. I can't tell you how happy I was. So the two festivals, I thought I was going to get drenched and absolutely soaked on, freeze to death. We're okay. So there we are. So this weekend, I think we're in Royston again. Where's the old diary? Hold on. But it's not a public show. It's a private do. With Uncle Funk. Where are we? 14th. It's not Royston. It's Seaward's End, which is Cambridgeshire. Wedding. Week after that, private party. Royston. Week after that, I've got Queen stuff. So yeah, it's all going on. So it's all good. So that was last weekend. This week, yeah, just the 1 gig Saturday, so all good. Right, any other messages? No, we're up to date. Right, Richard Fitton Perkins bringing you to screen, young man. Hold on, get the old headphones on. Let's see, where are you? There you are. There he is, look. Fabulous.
Evening, Mike.
How are you? I like that.
Not bad,
t-shirt.
mate. And you?
That's very good. Yeah, not too bad.
Good stuff.
Yeah, what's happening?
Oh.
What have you got there for a start?
Oil is being changed. Chaos for 2 days.
I remember that. Yes, I remember that 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Yeah. Sitting on my lap is one I talked to you a couple of weeks ago. It's the Cort. So,
oh, yes. Yeah.
Base 4.
Nice.
Yeah.
Headless.
Yes. Yeah.
Very good.
See if I can. There you go.
Oh, yeah. There we go. I can't get on with that clumpy thing they put at the end of the headstocks. They're not the only manufacturer that does it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
I
think
like
it's generally a sort of a cheaper sort of,
it's an alternative
way, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, wine's getting poured.
Oh, he's on the wine tonight. Oh, dear.
I'm on the wine tonight.
Here we go.
30th anniversary. Could all go wrong from this point on. It'll be a large glass.
I'll actually join you with a Vimto.
A flagon of Vimto. Very good. Well, cheers, everyone. Thank you for coming on
Cheers,
the live
mate.
chats. Thank you for supporting the channel. So we're going to be doing this again in about 7 weeks' time, because it'll be the 5th anniversary of the channel. So all I can say is thank you for you guys. Keep coming back. You, Richard, been very diligent past few months. Thank you. I can't do the channel without all you people watching the videos and getting involved in the live chat. So thank you very much. Fabulous. And obviously, in 7 weeks' time, we'll have more cake. Of course, goes without saying. You can't beat the cake, so they'll get the muffins out in a minute. You can't have wine and muffin at the same time, you see. It's
cool. I don't know.
One or the other. I'm not Mr. Tickle. So how's things? All right?
Not bad, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Enjoying
ticking
your
over.
time off?
I've had a few days off. I'm back to work in Gloucestershire and Wiltshire teaching tomorrow and Thursday. So, yeah. And I've actually been working on a set for duos. So
I remember that.
backing tracks and things.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yes.
Oh, really? Do I have to? But yeah.
Yeah. Well, it helps. It's all, there's all the thing is, the way the gigging market is going, there's always a market for duos. So when things are quiet, you can
solo acts and duos. That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can pick up a Friday and a Saturday. You've got another 300 quid in your pocket that you wouldn't have had if you didn't have it.
That's it. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sammy said he'd pay good money for your T-shirt.
He can get one if you type it in on Amazon.
Right. I'll tell you what, Sam, I'll find that and I'll put it in the Brooks's Base Corner store. Yeah. So if you check tomorrow, if you check tomorrow, it'll be there in the store. You can help the channel using the affiliate link. I'll put it in the description of this live chat, and you can buy one. You help the channel. We'll get a small affiliate commission.
Actually,
yes, sir.
The Cort, Cort preamps, clean, sounding brilliant, but lacking in the bass.
Okay, so they're not using the the Bartolini preamp they were using before then.
Bartolini 1.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So not a lot of bass end.
No. If I show you quickly.
Yeah, sure.
Demute it.
Bill Derbyshire says at least you can hang the Cort in a Hercules stand.
Yes, true. Yes.
Okay.
So if I take the bass to middle sort of thing.
Yep, center.
It's a bit thin. So in order for it to sort of rich up, you need it sort of almost full up, where you get.
Still not. There's not a thump there, is there?
Nearly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a very It's like
Yeah.
a mid,
Yes.
as opposed to a
Yeah.
flowering, blooming
Yes.
bottom end.
Yeah.
If you pardon the phrase. Sorry to the ladies. Yeah.
And I've actually, of course, checked in it. There is no actual trim pot or anything in there. Just billions of wires in a teeny board.
Yeah.
You know.
Maybe, well, one way around it, swap the preamp. But you use
possibly
4000s, don't you? Use 4000s.
4295s, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Maybe go up a gauge, or you could do a hybrid set. So your E and A, 105 and 85.
Yeah.
And then
possibly
whatever works for you.
Yeah.
I've had some basses like that where you kind of have to give the thing as much help to
Yeah.
get those low frequencies
that's right.
out, but it needs no help with the mids and the top end. It's got plenty of that.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
pickups up, you know.
Yeah, but you don't want to have to do you want a bass to just do its thing. You don't want to have to give it like 20 helping hands to just get the tone you want. But a string gauge up, certainly on the E, might make a difference.
Yeah.
Are you using nickels or steels?
Nickel elixirs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, nickel should be warmer sounding anyway than steel. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Maybe it is a gauge thing. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But normally, when I've found a bass a bit lacking in that, a small push up in the string gauge sometimes can help. It's not always a fail safe, but it might work.
Yeah,
it might work. But very good, very good. Let's just see. We've got all the messages. If anyone wants to join Rich and I here, you can by video or audio. There's a ticker running along the bottom of the screen. Drop me an email, brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. I'll send you an invite. You get an invite, you click on it, and then you come through to the screen. That's pretty much how it works.
Absolutely.
To be fair, I'm just rescaling my email here so that I can see everything while I'm... There we go. I don't know if you saw, there's been a nice couple of Alembics and State I go up at Bass Direct and Bass Brothers.
Not actually looked, no.
Oh, yes. So,
anything nice?
Yes. So Mark King signature standard Alembic went up at Bass
Alembic
Brothers,
one,
6.5.
Oof,
and
cool.
Then yesterday, Bass Direct. Now this is a novelty because I've never seen such a thing. 20th anniversary Alembic from 1989, figured maple top, 32-inch scale.
Oh, right, okay.
I thought they were all 34. Yeah, I thought they were all 34s. So that's already been sold. I was offered it last night, and I was like, I can't justify $6.5 grand at the moment.
No,
and I've already got one. As much as I would like its brother in figured maple, it wasn't going to happen. So that sold instantly this morning. That was sold, and then they also got in for $3.5 grand a literally immaculate T-bass, amber, LEDs, the lot, 3.5.
3.5. They are actually going up, aren't they?
They are. Let's just see if it's still there. Or they may have sold it already.
Yeah,
I
probably.
Get a heads up on that. Let's have a look here. Come on. Thank you. Pre-owned. No, it's still there. 3.5. 2022. Vintage Amber Sunburst. If anyone's in the market for that. There's also very nice Music Man Stingray, black and gold.
All right, yeah.
And a King bass. Oh, that's gone as well now. A King bass 2, figured maple top, went for $3 grand.
All right, okay.
I'd have thought that would have gone for the same price as the T bass, frankly, but since it's a bit more.
I would have thought it would actually be more because they're, of course, rarer.
Limited in number. I suspect there's probably a lot more T basses than there are.
There's only about King Bass Mark 2s. There's only about 60 around.
Exactly. There's a lot more than 60 T basses.
Yeah. Because I've got number 59. So
there you go. David Gill picked up the MXR Bass Octave Deluxe pedal. Excellent. And what do you think? Phil Hov, good to see you, my friend. What do you think, David? Does it work for you? And as I've said in our email correspondence, said here on the live chat many a time, all those octave pedals sound different from one another. So if that pedal is working for you and you're really happy with it, next time you get to go to a store, try some of the other octave pedals, because once you become familiar with that one you've bought, which is great, you'll hear all the differences in the other ones, like the Aguilar Optimizer, very different. EBS Octabass, very different. You'll hear all these things. And actually the MXR range of octaves, there's like 6 or 7, and they all do slightly different things. So, you know, don't, I mean, by all means, make the most of the one you've got, because it's taken you long enough to find it and decide on that one. But definitely try others, because once your ears are tuned to what that one does, you'll hear how the other ones compare, if that makes sense. Sammy, good timing, Brooks. You just started my bass career. Excellent. I've landed a pub gig in a week. There you go. Paid in cheese and onion crisps. Got to start somewhere, my boy. You've got to start somewhere. My earliest gigs, when I first started doing this professionally, we had really good paying gigs with the Glam Rock Tribute, and then there was a regular pub that we played in Acton called the Georgian Dragon. I think it might still be there. We used to play there probably once or twice a month on a Saturday night, because it was just down from the Redback. So if you didn't get in the Redback, you got in at the Georgian Dragon. And we, 7-piece band, I used to get 35 quid. And now I look back and think, what were you doing? But you were in for a penny, in for a pound in that band. So you got the good gigs, you got the crap gigs. And I have to say, I learned so much doing those Georgian Dragon gigs. You learned so much about stagecraft, making your rig sound right, make sure your bass is set up so you're not worrying about it, how to deal with an audience, idiots walking along the floor like a spider, things like that. I can't even begin to explain what that looked like, believe me. Or the guy who used to lay on his back and be like a dead fly, electrocuted fly on the floor, and then you see the state of the floor. So you learn these things. This is where
you do indeed. In actual fact, my first actual paying playing job was as a cellist doing a week of the Pirates of Penzance. So I was 15, and I got paid 25 quid for a week.
This is what you used to... Rates have gone up, thankfully. Yeah.
Thankfully, yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, but these are the things you do, because you have to learn the experience. Back then, what are you going to do otherwise? Sit at home? We didn't have YouTube back then. What would you do? You have to get experience somehow, you know. Yes, so Phil Hov, thank you very much. David Gill, exactly what I was looking for. I'm glad we got there, David. Fabulous. Phil, Georgian Dragon is still there. Now, there's some stories I could tell you about that place. Not all for broadcast either. I would need several pints of beer to be able to tell you everything that happened in that place. But there we are. Sammy says he can confirm. Some guy, email. What, are you sending me an email? Make sure you get the email address right. I can't remember if it was you or someone else. Tried to send an email the other week, got the wrong address, and nothing appeared. Let's have a look here. Just bear me a second. It says something's... here we go. Hoyt Castle. If I join, you get the... right, excellent. Let me send you an invite. Hold on. Hold the bus, sir. Hold the bus. I will send you an invite. And then you click on the invite that I send you, okay? And it'll bring you through, and then I bring you to screen. So I'm sending that to you now. There you go. It's on its way to you. There we go. It's gone. So check your inbox in about 2 seconds, and you should have an invite in there. There we go. So yeah, that's kind of those are the sort of gigs you used to do, and slowly but surely you're able to weed that stuff out, and the better paying gigs come your way, and the ball starts rolling, and away you go, and that's it. But there's no hard and fast rules on this. You know, you have to put in the legwork. Some people get very lucky and they land on their feet immediately. And they just get good paying gigs from day one. It's a rarity. Do not, anyone who's starting out from scratch, that's the That's not the hard and fast rule. Usually you've got to do some not so great paying ones, some not so great gigs, but it's all a learning experience. And over time you get to the point where you're probably being offered so much work from different sources. You might be in a couple of bands, people using you as a dep, that you get to a point where you can pick and choose. The only advice I'd really give on that is have some integrity, because I know too many musicians, and this has gone on for decades, but as someone who's done this, nothing grinds my gears more than someone taking a dep gig and then dropping out of it for the sake of an extra 50 quid or something, leaving you in a position where you either don't have anyone to replace them, or they go and find someone who isn't up to their caliber, but it gets them off the hook because they've put someone in. Drives me insane. And I've had musicians, actually, when I used to run like a little sideline band when my regular band mates were off on tour, and I'd use different singers, guitarists, drummers, keys players, what have you, and they would do this, and they drop you in it like with a day's notice, and it's like, well, who am I going to get? And then you have to pull the gig, and then have the audacity 2 months later to start ringing you up going, why aren't you booking me on the gig? Why don't I get the gigs anymore? It's like, you want me to answer that? Really? And yeah, anyway, some guy, you've just popped up. I can bring you to stage, sir. First time here on Brooks's Bass Corner. Welcome. How are you?
Evening.
Good to see you.
Good to see y'all. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, good. I'm running through my interface, and
that's okay.
Pretty neat.
That's okay.
Good to see you guys. I'm holding the bass too.
Fabulous. What have you got there?
Bass Dave.
Justin Ibanez, he
budget
says.
bass sound gear.
Very nice. No, they're great.
They're fun.
Great. We have plenty of them. I've reviewed many over my years. Back in the days when I was doing magazine reviews. We can hear that. It's good.
Yeah.
It's all good. So your first name's Hoyt. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, you know me. And this is Richard. Richard, Hoyt.
Good to see you.
Evening, Hoyt. Yeah.
So thank you for coming on, and thank you for coming on the live chat so regularly. Very much appreciate, my man. So
yes, sir.
Anything you want to ask, whether you've seen something on the channel or you just want to talk bass or you got any questions for me or Richard, feel free.
I was going to be a silent partner, if that's okay.
That's all right. That's okay. You can do that. That's fine. Puck 27, is there a website to get dep gigs? Now, here's the thing. So the way it used to be, before we had social media and what have you, you basically networked, and you networked like a dervish, because the more people you knew, the more work you would get. Here in the UK, I always thought, and I can remember going back 30 years, like once I left uni, I thought, why isn't there a website like notice board, a message board for musicians to say what dates they're available, or for bands to say we need a dep? It never existed. I could never find anything. I think partly because for a long time, a lot of people didn't have internet at home, really, until late 90s, it became more prevalent. And then once we had broadband, it became even more prevalent. And then when social media came along, I kept thinking there's got to be something on Facebook. And then all of a sudden groups, because groups wasn't necessarily a thing at the start, and neither was pages. It was more just user accounts. But as time went by, groups and pages became a thing. So then you had dep musicians in London, dep musicians in the UK, dep musicians in the Southeast, dep musicians in Norfolk, in the Midlands, in Scotland, in Ireland, Wales, Southwest, Northwest, Northeast, and it's gone ballistic. But there's still not a central resource. So what you got to do, I don't know where you're based, Puck 27, remind me, but you've got to go on. Facebook is the best platform for this, rather than sort of Instagram or anything else. You've got to do your diligence. You've got to search for all these groups. So if you put in dep musicians, musicians for hire, bass deps, bass players for hire, and you'll see all these groups, and it's a case of joining them. And then you've got to monitor them. So first of all, you've got to find them, and then you have to trawl through them. So for quite a while, after I left my last covers band in autumn 2018, 2019 was quite fallow for me. I was just picking up debt work here and there. But I would diligently have my Facebook window open on my desktop when I'm sat here working. And I would see all the messages for all the debt groups. And I'd make sure all the Muso pages and groups were, you could signal within Facebook that they were important. So you saw every message as it appeared. So then I would see, need a bass player for this Saturday, need a bass player for 2 weeks' time. I'd see all them and apply to them, whether you get them or not. Usually it's a case of the first or second person is going to get it, or the cheapest option. But you've got to do all that work. So you can actually set up either on your regular Facebook profile or set up a new one and just have all those Muso groups, but you need to obviously be logged into that profile to see all that stuff come up. And it's just a case of doing your thing, and every day, if you're trying to fill your diary, that's how you got to do it. But networking, you can't beat networking. I'm sorry. It's and social media makes that easier, but like my big argument with Facebook and social media for doing this sort of stuff and having a career in music, being a musician, is the fact that any little sod can come onto a Facebook musician debt group and say, oh yeah, I can do that gig, I'll debt for you. You don't know how old they are. They might not be old enough to actually do the gig, but you have no possible knowledge on whether they're any good or not. So someone can say, yeah, I can do it. Yes, I'm available, and I'll do it 50 quid cheaper than the next guy. But who's saying they're any good? You don't know. You don't know. And I've known plenty of bands and groups who I've then been called after that person has been used to be told, oh, have you heard of this bloke? And I say, yeah, I've seen him posting up on the groups. And they say, yeah, we used him for a gig. He couldn't even play. He turned up with like a £50 bass. One of the strings was missing. He didn't even have an amp or a cable. And it's like, well, that's where that's why recommendation is so important. But for me, a lot of that seems to have gone out the window. People just don't recommend people all that often anymore. They just leave, if a band says, oh, well, we need a drummer for next week. It's like, oh, well, you better go on Facebook then. And then it's like luck of the draw. It's like the Wild West. Who do you know? So for me, personal recommendation is always everything. So I would rather ask musos that I know, do you know a good drummer who could do this? Like if I was doing a Queen tribute, I'll know the drummers on my contacts in my phone who I think would be capable of doing that either at short notice or would have the diligence to go and learn the set rather than just turn up and wing it, which is no use to anyone. And there's plenty of people who do that as well. They're happy winging any gig, and then they wonder why they start losing out on work. And it's like, well, you've shot yourself in the foot already. You didn't do the work, you didn't learn the stuff, and you've been found out. So that would be my my suggestion. Puck 27. You're in Gloucestershire. Well, there's plenty of dep groups on Facebook for that. So you're looking for Southwest, West Country, Midlands, Wales, maybe. You've just got to do your homework with this stuff, but it's worth doing. Worth doing it. Ollie, get Jamie Millard up there too. Yeah, he's not queued in yet. He's got the invite. We'll wait for him. He's probably doing his muscles in the gym, doing his hair. David Gill finished The Bastard Instrument, Cultural History. Oh yes, you were telling me about this book. I've got it on my to read list. Enjoyable read on the change from double bass to electric in R&B, rock, soul and funk. I will check that out, David. Thank you for the recommendation. Ollie, Dream Team. Well, you haven't been on yet, so it can't possibly be. We're waiting for you to join. Yeah. Actually, I was going to ask you something, Ollie. I can't remember what it was. I know what it was. I saw that post you put up last week playing your JD. And you are seriously getting there, my friend. So very well done. I was going to make a little suggestion. It's just Uncle Mike talking to little Ollie, okay? We talked a couple of weeks ago about the spin doctors. Remember that, Rich? And yeah. Jamie was on, and we were talking about economy of motion, whereas where you get the sound, you get the tones, you get the notes, but without all the huge arm and hand and finger movement. Mark White, he's left actually now, but he's the bass player we all know from the Spin Doctors. My advice, Ollie, because you are seriously nailing it, is check out Mark White and his slap style, because what you're doing at the moment is fabulous. But what you're doing is exerting a hell of a lot of energy and arm movement to get the same notes. You could actually half the amount of movement, because you're doing something that a drummer friend of mine used to point out to me, which was when I slapped, I used to bring my arms so far away from the bass. Well, you don't actually have to. You can actually, by rotating your wrist as opposed to rotating your arm at the elbow, you can actually do half the work. That's it. As opposed to that, which uses up twice the amount of energy. Some people that do like a Lessons in Love triplet line, for Mark, it's a stamina thing. For anyone, it's a stamina thing. If you suddenly find your arm wearing out when you're halfway through, that's what economy of motion is. Trying to reduce the amount of movement but having the same musical effect. And Mark White is a perfect example of that, because my mate Jamie went to see them when they played at Brixton in 1994. We'd never seen them over here live. And he stood there, and I remember him ringing me up on his way home from the gig going, "You won't believe this guy. I can't believe how many notes he was playing, but his hands never moved." And I was like, "Well, they must have moved." He said, "Yes, but you know, we weren't that far from the front." And he was no Mark King, yet he was playing like 3 times as many notes. I said, "Right, okay." I said, "Well, how did he do it?" He said, "Economy of motion." He literally had a technique where Nick Smith had this a bit, where his thumb is almost doing the work as opposed to his wrist.
Yeah.
And if you can coordinate the thumb and the wrist, you can actually get a double slap in. So you end up with like, it becomes like a blur. If you watch any of Nick's videos, there are times when he used to slap when his thumb was just a blur, and you're thinking, where's all that coming from? But it's a combination of a double hit there, the wrist, and then damping with that. So you end up with 4 or 5 notes, where if you're doing the whole thwackety thwackety thwack, you're going to get half or less. So it was just, I saw your video. I'm not going to try and teach you to suck eggs, but it's just a suggestion. You may find, check Mark White out and just see what he's doing, and you'll look at it and go, he's playing a lot of notes, but his hand isn't moving very much. It's a thing Billy Sheehan rattles on about all the time, economy of motion. People used to sit and watch Billy Sheehan at his clinics go, how is he doing all that? He actually isn't doing very much. And he says, if I break it down, it's literally my left-hand finger going, duh, 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 and the other hand going in between the notes. So it will go, and there isn't, and people go, but it's a blur of notes. It's not. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's just a 4-note hammer on, but it suddenly becomes because you're doing it, but there's actually not a lot of movement going on. It's just a suggestion, okay? If you've got,
was it the
go
on. Was it the actual chap who played?
Yeah.
That one, yeah.
Although that's not the best example of his slap style. There's you've got Jimmy Olsen's Blues, Little Miss Can't Be Wrong.
Yeah.
Refrigerator Car. What Time Is It? There's a live album of Spin Doctors, which I mentioned, called Home Belly Groove, which is then recorded at various clubs in the US, New York, Seattle, LA. And the bass sound on that is just, it's off the chart.
Out there, sort of thing.
It's off the chart. And he's just playing a jazz bass. And I'm like, he has a slap style that I've not heard copied or innovated on. It's him. But it totally works. And it's just a 3-piece band with a singer. But it just fills, and it's like he never stops. But there are dynamics, and his attention to detail in where are the gaps, the places not to play a note, really work. And it's a shame they weren't bigger than they were. I mean, for a period, they were really big. That album was like the album of '93. Pocket Full of Kryptonite. But it's just, I just wanted to give you that as a pointer, Ollie. You can tell me to go and shove it up my, if you wish, but it's just, I watched that video and you're doing exactly what I did when I was your age, which is you watch Mark King play and you watch slap players and it looks like lots of energy, but it doesn't have to be that way. You can actually play the same number of notes or more without all the, and you can actually do it just with that. And sometimes it's a really just like a feather light sort of touch. It's how your bass is set up, string gauge. Although I think Mark White used 4505. I could be wrong. I don't think he was using a light gauge because jazzes tend not to go for it. But his action was low. He used Mesa Boogie amplification most of the time. It just sounds just great. Check it out. Check it out. I'm just giving you pointers. And you're at an age where you're not full of bad habits in terms of your playing technique. So if that helps, great. If you think I'm talking a load of old cobblers, then feel free to say so. But I just thought I'd put it out there. Russell Zorner, good to see you. There are a bunch of local music venues subreddits. There's one for our town, Portland, Oregon. This is going back to Puck 27. People get info there all the time, post their own work. The thing is now with social media and loads of platforms for musos. There were a couple of chancers who were trying to charge people for entry into their websites and their Facebook groups in order to provide work. You don't need to do that. That's what networking's about. And also they were scalping all the groups for the depping work. So they would see an ad and then post it on their page and you'd pay them the privilege when you can actually get that information for free. So don't get forced into that, that's for sure. Russell, it's certainly different from place to place, but if you're... Sorry, I'm trying to read it off two windows there. If you're in a tribute band or a wedding singer, Facebook is very much the best place to network for that. Yeah, I agree. Westford, good to see you. We're all good. Thank you, sir. There's Ollie. Russell, local jams for sure. Yeah, you can do jams. You can do the mic nights. All of those things. Someone's just sent me an email. Bear me a moment. Crazy tuner. I have a couple of questions about bass. That's cool. Do you want an invite? I'll send you an invite. If you want to come on live, you can. More than welcome. There you go. There's an invite heading your way.
Brooksy.
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with the Mesa Boogie M2000?
Is that a new amp or is that one of the older ones?
It's an old tube.
Let's have a look. Is it Mesa Boogie or Mesa Engineering?
Mesa Engineering.
Yeah, because sometimes you search for their amps and it doesn't come up if you put Boogie. M2000?
Yes, sir.
Now, it's the Basis M2000. There we go. Legacy, out of production. Okay.
So I found one.
Yeah, I remember them.
So I have
one.
And
I
found one, and it's in my shed, and it's mine.
Good man.
I just haven't plugged it up yet.
Ever.
So I'm going to clean it out, vacuum it out, and plug it up and see if the tubes light up.
Yeah. I would suggest I don't know how you get access to the tubes on it, but you might have to take the top cover off, or you might not. You might be able to have access from the back. Put either rubber gloves or some Stacey's not here. The latex gloves that you can buy in a box of 100.
Yes, sir. Sharp gloves.
Yeah, those. Don't take the tubes out with your finger. It's like a light bulb. Don't get finger grease on a valve. Take them out. Get a can of compressed air. Give it all. If you've not fired it up in a long time, blast compressed air through it, and that'll remove all the rubbish.
I have a can.
And then put the tubes back in, because if there's any muck in those tube sockets, you're going to know about it, and you're going to get all sorts of weird noises. But that's a really good amp. I can.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna clean it up, and I'll keep you updated.
Excellent. Yeah, I've got a Strategy 888 over there in the rack, which is a hell of a amp. It was the flagship amp that replaced the 400 Plus, and it's like built like a tank. So yeah, those things, if you look after the tubes and look after the circuit boards and what have you, they'll run forever, apparently. Okay. And yours is American. Well, this is because before it all started getting made abroad, they're American made, built to last. So yeah. Let's see who's there. Yusuf, Crazy Tuner 64. You say you got a couple of questions about bass. I've sent. Oh no, it didn't go. Hang on, bear with me a moment. It didn't go. Gmail.com. No, that should be. Oh, someone's appeared. Bear with me a moment. Yeah, there. Hello. There's 4 of us.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello there.
How you doing?
What's going on, guys?
This is Brooks's Bass Corner, live chat 117.
Oh yes, of course. You have to be
Cool.
Sorry, the feedback's coming.
What's your name?
Sorry, I was just watching it on my desktop earlier. So
That's all right. What's your name?
I just Yusuf. Oh, sorry.
Yusuf.
Yeah.
That's all right. I got it in the email. Cool. Good to see you. Where are you based?
Ealing.
Ealing in West London. I used to live in Ealing. I'm on the other side of Uxbridge.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, how are we ever gonna meet? Oh no. Never get my bass.
So we've got Sammy in Acton, we've got Yusuf in Ealing, and I'm in other side.
Yeah, I actually know Sammy.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you play in his band? Or?
All world.
No.
Okay.
One day.
So what are you doing in Ealing? Are you studying or what?
Yeah. I'm in high school.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Are you a bass player?
I'm really looking into it though. Not yet,
Okay.
but I'm really looking into it.
Okay.
It's, I don't know, being sort of trying to weigh it up. So I just had a couple questions here, and I thought, 30th year of you doing it, you'd be the best person to ask, no?
Well, quite right. You're coming here for the knowledge. That's it.
Yeah.
We're not just pretty faces, Right, go for it. What questions?
All right,
my man.
First one would be, which Ampeg would you recommend?
Okay. Right. First, straight off. I'll go first, Rich.
Okay.
I might deal with all of this in one hit. Right. Ampeg. Right. Okay. What musical style do you want to play?
Like less formal, more like just for fun, like pop, more.
Okay. Are
I
you
guess,
going to be playing a lot of rock?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I'll be honest with myself.
Okay. Sounds to me like an Ampeg probably ain't what you need.
Oh, right.
Okay, so Ampeg is a legendary bass amplification manufacturer.
Of course.
Very good amps, and they were the industry standard. In rock bands, that's pretty much what you always see, which is why people suddenly go, "Oh, well, that must be the best." Ampeg stuff has a certain architecture, the way it's built, the way it's designed to sound like a certain thing. When they first came out, mid to late 60s, that was it. That's what you wanted to have, was Ampeg. Amplification has moved on greatly since. So I stand out the way. Not that my room is particularly pleasantly tidy at the moment.
Ooh,
I've got multiple amplifiers and all sorts. Things have moved on, but also Ampeg isn't that cheap. Not because it's the best. I personally don't believe it's the best anyway. I think there's better stuff out there. But because you're a younger guy, unless you've got loads of money to throw at it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, you're right. Okay, take Ampeg off your list unless you can find a cheap one second hand. I would suggest you look on things like Bass Chat, which is a bass forum. eBay, of course.
Yeah, classic.
Facebook Marketplace, and you're looking at brands like TC Electronic, Mark Bass, Hartkey, Trace Elliott. But I will always warn anyone going for old Trace Elliott stuff, you're going to need to set extra money aside for potential repairs further down the line.
Oh, right. So pretty unreliable.
SWR, Ashdown, and at least with those brands, you're going to be able to get up and playing. Your ears will tune into the sort of amp you might want further down the line. But you're at a stage where there's no point you pumping out £2,000 on amplification.
Yeah.
You just need something to get you up and running. So an Ampeg, if you can find a cheap one second hand, go for it. But I would suggest, if you can, go for like a Portaflex, which is less tube biased. So tubes, valves are the same thing. You don't want an amp that you're going to have to keep replacing valves in because you'll suddenly find you've got no money. So I would say a decent solid state amp, 200 watts, that'll get you up and running. You might want a combo, which is all in one.
Yes.
But yeah, I think someone has probably fed you the line. You need to get an Ampeg, and it's like
it was the Sammy Ray. He's indoctrinated me. I can't believe he's
what's he know?
done that.
But yeah, I mean, look, I've gone on eBay before, and for £200 seen a full Hartke, two 4x10 cabinets, and an amplifier for 200 quid. So there are deals to be had out there. Just, I think what you need to kind of ascertain is what sort of bass sound you want to get, because all of these brands, although they're bass amplifiers, all have a characteristic tone of the manufacturer. So like a Hartke, if it's got aluminium cones like that will have a very mid-biased, throaty sound. If you go for a Hartke with paper cones, it's a totally different sound. An Ashdown will sound very different. An SWR will sound different. Mark bass will sound different again. So it might be worth taking a trip to like a PMT or a guitar, or go to the bass gallery in Camden and just take a bass, if you've got a bass, and just plug it into different amps, and you will hear all the different signature sounds and eventually you'll find one that works for you. Having said that,
you have to mess around with it.
You're a young guy, but so you won't know all those sounds. But it's like, someone buying a Strat and saying they have to have a Marshall. No, you don't. There's loads of guitar amps.
Yeah, true.
But again, they all sound different. So it's just finding what works for you when you first start.
All right, yeah.
Rich, care to offer anything into that?
I'd just say straight away, TC Electronic BG250 combos. Comes in either the 12-inch speaker, the 15-inch, or the 2x10, which if you look, if I turn the camera around, there's one right here.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely brilliant things.
Fair enough.
And you can pick those up for about 250-ish.
All right, not bad. Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had one more question. I wanted to. Sorry if I am taking too much time.
I'm unwrapping the chocolate. No. We're here till 11 o'clock, so you keep going.
Oh, all right.
I'm unwrapping a chocolate muffin.
I hope I'm not stealing the spotlight.
No.
All right. I wanted to ask about: is a 3-string really worth it?
A 3-string.
Hold on.
A 3-string bass. What's your name, Tony?
The only 3 strings I know of on the 14-foot tall Octave bass, and the double basses prior to about 1850 had 3. But apart from that, 4 is the sort of, minimum.
Again, it might have been, I don't know, a trick from someone dissuading me from getting into bass.
Yeah.
All right.
You can play a 3-string bass if you want, but you only need 1 string, my friend. 1 string will get you by.
All right,
I'm guessing Sammy is on the other end of your computer, and he's telling you.
Have you heard my keyboard? Is it really that loud?
We know you're there.
Well, what do you have to say to him not wanting to come on? He was too afraid.
Well, he came on last week for about 25 minutes, so he's all good.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Wasn't there a cheap bass with sort of latex strings that had 3 strings? An Aubrey or something?
Ashbury,
yeah. That was it.
Doug Wimbish used to push them, and Fender then bought them out.
Oh, right.
Used to be the distributor. You had to put talcum powder on the strings to play it. Crazy behavior.
Madness, yeah.
It became part of the D'Armond range, and Fender then discontinued it.
And did they have 3 strings or 4?
No, 4.
All right.
The idea was it sounded like, it was kind of like the Kahler thing before the Kahler thing even happened. The idea was that they sounded like an upright bass.
Oh, right, okay.
Because they were electric.
Yeah.
So basically the strings were silicon rubber.
Yeah.
I played one.
Rubber glove. Yeah.
I played one like that at an Opry house in Southwest Louisiana. This guy had an SG with those strings on them.
Oh God.
They weren't the easiest thing. It was like you slide a note, even after the talcum powder was on. It's like your finger would stick to the string. It was a peculiar thing. They didn't take off, funnily enough, which I'm sure is no surprise to anyone. Any more questions, Yusuf?
No. I think you guys have covered it all.
Sammy, any more questions via Yusuf? He's been rumbled.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes. So I would go for 4 strings or 5 by all means. Maybe.
And no need for the Ampeg.
No.
Not if you like having a spine.
You can buy an Ampeg if you want.
But just sit around with it.
If you get one with valves in, at some point they're very unreliable in that respect.
Yeah.
I've been in many a bass repair shop over 40 years nearly. And they'll have an old vintage Ampeg, and you'll say to the guy, "What's that?" And you'll say it's an SVT, blah, 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 whatever model it was. And I say, "Well, what are you doing with it?" He said, "Well, I'm waiting for the valves." I said, "Well, what are you waiting for?" He said, "They haven't shipped the valves. We've been waiting 5 years." And you see these things, the tops off, and they've never repaired it. It's like, because invariably they blow like crazy. And I think the quality control has got a lot better. Dean at Ampeg, because Ampeg are now owned by Yamaha, so they'd pull their socks up. Dean is fabulous. Dean Monazelos over in LA. He's fabulous, and he's a lovely guy, and he wants their stuff to be the best. But unfortunately, they have a reputation, and that baggage doesn't get lost. So, you know, they are what they are.
Yeah.
There we go. Right, quickly, let's see what message. We've got a load of messages here.
Oh.
Right. I think Dawson has sent a message. Bear with me a moment, Dawson. I'll be there. Hold on. Yeah. There he is. Dawson, you want to... right, hold on. I'll send you an invite. Cool, we're going 5 people on. It's going to be like having dinner soon.
It is, isn't it? Party time.
That's it. Cool. I tell you, we know how to live. Right. Okay. Hang on. I just need to do that. Right. There we go. Westport just passing by quickly. Have a theatre show tonight. Good luck. Have a good time. I hope it's fabulous. Thank you. Russell Zorner, one should not have to recommend that people have all the strings on or even a complete instrument. No. You would hope not. Hey. Bill Derbyshire, I've been doing some dep gigs with regular band who do a fair amount of charity events, so I know where this is going. And I'm finding that the regular bass playing is taking most of the paying gigs and leaving the freebies. That's why you don't
kind
do
of it, isn't
freebies. Yeah. Or I suggest you suggest to him, if he's trying to get you to do lots of deps, you split the fees.
Yeah.
So it works out equally for each other.
Absolutely.
I have a policy, Bill, of with charity events, unless it's for a charity that I support, and these days I only support animal charities anyway. Unless it's for a charity I support, I don't do it. I've been very lucky that most of the bands I've been in have always walked away from charity gigs. Although, since I've been in Uncle Funk, all our charity gigs have been paid because all of us do it for a living. So if we weren't paid, most of us wouldn't be there for the charity gigs. But even in my old covers bands, we made it a thing, and we agreed, it was a band agreement. You know, if we do charity gigs, we have to be paid. If we're not being paid, we ain't doing it, because there's nothing in it. There's nothing, and you can do the whole exposure nonsense. Exposure don't pay the bills, and invariably, if you take a charity gig on a Friday or a Saturday, you're going to miss out on paid work Friday and Saturday. You can guarantee they're feeding the banquet people. You can guarantee they're paying the venue for the hire. You can guarantee they're paying for everything else, but people always seem to think they're going to get banned for free. But you have to set a precedent. If you do it, as you're finding, that bass player's taking the paying gigs and not doing the freebies. I would have a quiet word with him, perhaps, and see if we can come to an agreement. There's Dawson. We'll bring you in. Hold on. I'm just rattling through the messages, Dawson, so just hang fire. But it's something you have to agree between you. But personally, I wouldn't be doing that. When you get offered those gigs, just say, well, I'm sorry, I don't want to take them, unless you've got other stuff. But mate, it's entirely personal. It's up to you whether you want to take them. Me personally, I don't want to do them. I'd rather just not gig. Because also invariably what happens is you then start having band arguments internally about whether you should do it or not. And then someone will say, oh, but my Auntie Wilma wants us to do a gig for free on such and such a date. And it'll be a peak gig and you'll get offered a really big paying gig and you won't be able to take it because you're doing a gig for free. And it leads to band arguments. Much better just to leave those things to other bands personally, unless it's like for a corporate event and they're saying we've got budget to pay for the band because you being the entertainment, we're going to make loads of money on the raffle or an auction or whatever, and that's the money that then goes to the charity. But it's you have to. I've made it so I'm happy with the situation. So if someone says to me it's a charity gig, there's no money, I just say no, I'm not there. If I take the gig and then I find out that we're not being paid anything, then I'll be having a serious word with the band lead and saying I'm not going to be there. But the problem you've now got is you've taken the gig and you ain't going to have a bass step because I'm not going to get anyone who's going to do it for free. So it's up to you how you want. We have the same policy in Uncle Funk, thankfully, when it comes to weddings. So our trumpet player got married last year. We all agreed. Well, some people said, oh, no, we'll do it for free and we'll have a lovely time. And I said, and a couple of others were waiting to see what my reaction was. I said, I'm happy to go and I'm happy to do it. But were we not in the band, would we be invited? You never know that. We hadn't been in the band long. But also, I said, well, if I don't go, you need a bass step. And for a bass step to go all the way to Plymouth, they're going to want paying. Well, why aren't you paying me? And I'm the bass player in the band. So we need paying. To which the bride then said, well, I can't afford to pay what we go out for. So we had a band discussion and we agreed on a fee and that's what we got paid. And fine, then we knew what the ground was and that's what we stuck with. But we had to have that discussion because otherwise you're going to find half the band are on it and the other half don't want to go because they're turning down a £300-400 gig elsewhere. So, communication is the thing. Too many bands and musicians don't talk and then they're backbiting and having a moan. Don't have a moan, talk about it and get it sorted, But that's my take on it, Bill. Russell Zorner, need bass player with own bass. Correct. Here she is, Stacey Ann from North Carolina, who today has purchased tickets to go and see the quite fabulous Young Gun Silver Fox in North Carolina in October. Aren't you the lucky one? Very good. I've informed Sean Lee of Young Gun Silver Fox that you're going. So he's expecting to see you and Doug there. So he'll be looking out for you. So go and see him at the merch stand afterwards. Bring your albums. And I'm going to promote, actually. Just stay on the video, guys. I just want to push something. I said I would do it for them. So I'm going to do it. Hold on. We want that. Just bear me a moment. I just need to download the graphic before I do it. Right. You can carry on talking between yourselves. It's all right. There's just a graphic. I said I'd promote this for them, so I'll give them a shout out. Where's that graphic? Come on. There we go. So I want that.
May the bass be with you.
Indeed.
Quite.
It's very important. To be honest, linked to, of course, charity jobs and things, I actually worked for years with an actual cracking drummer from South Yorkshire, whose actual motto was "No pounds, no sounds."
There you go. There you go. I can go with that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to get rid of that. Right. So, US friends, the most fabulous band are coming to see you in October. They've got album launch show, I think is today. Let me just check. They're doing one in New York, one in LA. Let me just check the dates. Hold on there. Let's just check this. get all your information beforehand, Mike. Make things a lot easier, wouldn't it? Spare me a moment. They're doing launch shows in the US for the new album. Here we go. Right. Young Gun Silver Fox, USA album launch, New York, June 26th at Brooklyn Bowl. June 28th in Los Angeles at the Troubadour. I don't need to explain what the Troubadour is. If you know your music, you know. So they are there. June 26th, June 28th. Then they come back for the first leg. It says USA Tour Part 1. The Pleasure Tour. Pleasure is the new album. Fabulous. Quite fabulous. Amazing band. If you like yacht rock or you like Steely Dan, Toto, Earth, Wind and Fire, Ambrosia, Fleetwood Mac, Eagles, Kenny Loggins, George Benson, all of that, Stevie Wonder, Sly Stone, all of that. This band, you have to go and check them out. They're from the UK. Silver Fox, lovely Sean Lee, is from Wichita, I think. Anyway, you can see there the dates. They're in New Jersey, Philadelphia, Boston, Miami. This is going through October. Alexandria, Raleigh, North Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Nashville for you, Jamie Millard, Columbus, Ohio, and Chicago, Illinois. Go and check them out. If you're in the US, I guarantee, even if you think, I'm not sure about that material, you will have a great night. They are quite wonderful. 4-piece band, 3-piece horns, fab. I've been following them since 2019. And every time I go and see them, great. What you hear on record is exactly what you get on the live gig. I first saw them at Nell's in Kensington in November 2019. Sammy's trying to come on the live chat here. Yep, sure. I'll send you an invite. Hold on.
Party evening tonight.
It is. I tell you, 6 of us. Crikey. And that's before Jamie's got here, so he's well behind it. I went to see him at Nell's in Kensington in 2019, and my whole thing was I'd listened to the 2 albums. They were outstanding. I thought there is no way they're going to replicate that live. Yeah, they did. Blew my socks off. I've got a recording of it. One of the most listened live files I've got. Absolutely fabulous. So if you're in the US, normally they do only like 3 or 4 shows and they go coast to coast. This is part 1 of the American tour, so I'm guessing part 2 will probably happen in the new year. Go and check them out. The tickets won't be particularly expensive. I think Stacey ordered her tickets early. I think they were like $25, $26, $27. Just amazing. Go check them out. Dawson, you're going to hit yourself, poke your eye out with that bass. You can carry on. But go and check them out.
I am the bass Padawan.
I've heard. Yeah, you can get a cream.
Bring me to your leader.
Right. Messages. Stacey there. Puck 27. Yeah. Russell Zorner, brother. Just got a new bass too. Right. Oh, you got a Spectre signature. Very good. I can hear people muttering and laughing. Behave yourselves out there. Sammy, big fan of Spectre, of course. Well, we educated you last week. You got a Euro LX5 as opposed to a NS2. Russell Zorner. Wait, sorry, that was Doug Wimbish. Mark White doesn't technically have a signature, I think. Who's laughing? Stop chuntering in the background. It's like dealing with a schoolroom here. Behave yourself. Wait, sorry, it was Doug Wimbish. Mark White doesn't technically have a signature. No, he didn't, but he was the face for the Ibanez ATK bases back in the 90s. I'm just going to wear gloves anyway. Very good. Ollie, thanks, Uncle Mike. Teeth in. Don't buy your falsies from a catalogue, kids. Really appreciate tips. I've been trying to work on that. I seem to have good and bad days with technique. You're starting out, Ollie. You'll get there. You will get to a point where it just becomes second nature. You'll just play how you feel. What I've suggested, you can just throw it in the bin if it doesn't work. But of course, someone's hitting their keyboard hard there.
Crikey.
Yeah, very good. Russell Zorner, Lefty MTD 6 for sale out there, made for owned by Mark. Cool. They call it a signature model, but to be fair, it's just one he ordered. Yeah, got it. Russell Zorner, it's sold. Yep. Ollie Bowen, Nick's slap technique was something else. quite. Hardly moved his wrist because he practiced like crazy when he was younger. Nick's dad owned Peterborough Music, so they would get all the gear as it came through. As Trace Elliott, every new range that was launched, they would get it. Every time a JD was ordered, I mean, they went through JDs like crazy. Nick got to play them. He got to try all this gear. So he was a real sort of bass nerd when he was a younger guy. Sammy, is that really you, Russell? It's Russell Zorno. Jerry Blair, good to see you. Haven't seen you for a few weeks. Hope you're well. It's good to see you. James Howard, there's always Ashdown on eBay. Yeah, especially the combos. Yeah, Bill Derbyshire. Have a good rest of the evening. I have some chores to do. Okay, Bill, take it easy. Suffolk Triumph, good to see you. Parky. Yeah. Zumaz Music. Hello, UK bass brother. Good to see you. Good to see you. Sammy Ray, my grandmother's band ended in fire.
True story. That's true.
You're gonna have to put more meat on the bones there.
Do you want me to elaborate on my grandmother's band?
Yeah, type it in, because I'm rapping through the messages at the moment.
Understand.
Lee Bolton, still got to get to see Young Gun Silver Fox Lee. They're playing at Coco in Camden, October the 5th. Tickets are on sale. They went on sale last Wednesday. Get yourself down there. I think it's 27 quid. Bargain. Come on, it's a Sunday as well. Sammy Ray, because Kenny Loggins wouldn't let her kick off her Sunday shoes. Is that the gag?
No, it's a true story.
That's average at best. That you got to come on with better than that.
No, the pub burnt down. That's the true part.
Ah, right. Very good. Yeah. Okay. Well, again, give us more meat on the bones with that. Lee Bolton, very Hall and Oates for you. You haven't heard Dream Woman, which is on Canyons. It's Earth, Wind and Fire. There are elements on different albums. I'm guessing you're saying Hall and Oates because you've heard Lenny. But if you Take It or Leave It is Doobie Brothers, Michael McDonald. Midnight in Richmond, different track. Fourth album, Ticket to Shangri-La. There's loads of different stuff on there. Go check it out. Suffolk Triumph, sad news about Sly Stone. Very, very. I'm going to check out my interview with Larry Graham tomorrow. I think there's some stuff in there. Well, we talked about Sly quite a bit on there. But I think there's a few little sound bites I might put into shorts videos and put them up on the channel. I suspect, I read a message from Larry Graham's son today. I suspect Larry may have wanted to do something with Sly before either one of them passed away. And sadly, it's not going to be possible now. But I spoke to Larry in 2013, so he had 12 years to have a go. But I don't know what the full situation between them was in the last 10 years. So, but very sad, pioneer, trailblazer. If you've got Larry Graham as the Grandmaster of Funk, you've got James Brown as the Godfather of Funk. Sly Stone is the High Priest. It's those three. George Clinton in there as well. That's the Bootsy Collins, make it a quintet, very sad. But Sly had been ill for a long time. I think he had mental issues as well. And
what did he have?
He died of COPD, which is he kind of couldn't breathe. He had lung issues, but he was a coke addict for a significant amount of his career. And he was one of those guys on a slightly different plane. So he was kind of always a bit highly strung. And, he came up in a time where all of that stuff was acceptable. And then when you've obliterated your brain, you try to carry on having a career, it ain't there. And the music industry had moved on.
Well, he didn't do any music stuff for a while, did he? Before he died.
I think his last couple of albums were in the 80s, and he tried to do some stuff in the 90s, and he couldn't get his act together. And he was booked on festivals, and he wouldn't turn up. And then he did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They got inducted, I think, in 93, but he did something, or was it a Grammys thing in 2006, 2007? And that was probably the last time. But there's a biopic. There's one already out, which I think was done by Questlove. And then there's a new one in the can, sort of being worked on. So, yeah. Gareth, did I ever listen to High Fade? I haven't. It's on my list to go through. So I've got all of that stored on a post-it on my screen. So I will do. James Howard, noisy keyboard, lads. Keep it down. Yeah. Actually, guys, if you're going to do that, you can just mute your microphone. You can tap away. We don't hear it. And then when you come back on to talk, well, it's my channel.
This is how we're learning. Yeah, no.
This is it.
Yes. Yes,
There's a
Command
private
D.
chat there. Bass Padawan, I have to get going. Need to drive to pick up a friend. Okay, Dawson, no worries. Good to see you. Thank you for coming on in your bathrobe. Very good. That's lovely.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
All right, mate. Thank you for coming in. It's got busy tonight. We're busy.
Extremely.
Thank you for tuning in. Sammy, pub burnt down while she was in. Oh, that's horrible. Okay.
No, she
Really
survived.
is.
She survived.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. No. Sorry, I should have made that more clear.
I thought we were going to talk about murder. I'm like, good God.
No.
James Howard, you're off. Congratulations on 30 years. Have fun. Thank you very much. Come on next week or send me some messages about ACG. I will dig into my reviews because I've reviewed probably about 4 of them. So if I can give you a heads up on the filter system and everything else, I'll do that. It's fine. Lee Borton, I have all their albums, mate. Absolutely amazing. Okay, cool. Bit too Hall of Notes. I get it. There are elements to that. There's plenty of other stuff in there as well. There's some Carole King on Canyons. I keep saying to Sean, you've got to do Dream Woman on a gig. He said, we'd need 20 people on stage to do it. I said, no, you wouldn't. Come on, you can do it. I think it's because there's a lot of horns on that song and a lot of layered horns. So maybe that's it. I don't know. Ollie, I don't really see Larry doing much anymore. No, he's old. He's old. The fact that his son is doing all of his posting for him leads me to believe maybe that's it. So I'm very grateful that I got to interview him. Went to see loads of gigs. 10 years since I last saw him. I don't know if he's even been over here since the gigs in 2015. I did 2 nights at Jazz Cafe, so count myself very lucky. You know, I got to spend 3 hours sitting talking to the guy. So I had his bass. He left his bass with me. He went off for a sleep and left his bass with me. There was no tech. I could have just picked it up and walked off with it, the White Moon bass. I'm a good, diligent bloke. I rang his tech and went, do you want to come and get this? I said, because I'm sat up here. I'm not a babysitter. Anyway, there we are. Ollie, he still sounds great, though. Yeah. Anyone who doesn't know Larry Graham, check out Graham Central Station. He's not on all the Sly Stone stuff. Once he left, there were a couple of different guys. Bobby Vega is the bass player on I Get High on You. That's not Larry Graham. I always thought it was Larry Graham. No, it's Bobby Vega. Stacey, you got your tickets for Young Gun Silver Fox today. There we go. Quite fabulous. Here he is. We all know him. We all love him. Mr. Jamie Millard. I'm just going to try and some different graphics here. Let's see if we can... if I get rid of that...
Mr. Pink, good evening.
Here he is.
Hello.
Here he is. I'm going to just move
How are you doing? All right?
around. So we're going to see how these all line
recovering
up.
from the weekend gigs.
Oh.
Okay, I want to get rid of that.
Mr. Pink. That's a
There
solo.
he is.
Hello.
I'm just trying to remove... I've got an image on screen, so let's just try and remove that. No, I don't want that. I want to get rid of that. Oh yes, we want that, and we want to get rid of... Now, why isn't that letting me... I've got to try and work this one out. I've not done this before, where we've had like 5 people talking, and I've got a graphic there, and it won't let me get rid of... Right, I've done that. Yeah. Right, remove that. That's good. Good start. There we go. There we are.
And you're back.
Yeah. How are you, sir?
I am all right. How are you?
Yeah, I'm rocking and rolling. We haven't had a chance to chat much this week.
Oh, it's been busy. I've been in a bus.
You've been on a bus. I saw some
I've been on a
pictures.
bus.
She looks very photogenic.
You think?
If I might say so.
What are you trying to say, lad? Tell me what you're trying to say.
Well, I think you're a good compliment. I think you show her in the best light.
Well, you know, she doesn't need me. She doesn't need me for any life.
She's taken years off you. Wow. That's a nice gig to have. Is she regularly gigging, or what is she doing? Is she promoting an album?
So she's doing an EP release, and she's got a whole set. So kind of going, learning the bits and go.
So has she got like a career behind her? Has she been going at this for a while, or?
She's 2.5 in. So she's not been at it long.
Okay. Right. So there could be a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. Could be a lot of work, could be a lot of fun, you know.
So she was over here last week seeing family. She wasn't doing promotional stuff.
Correct.
And does she think there'll be some stuff over here and in Europe?
Wouldn't that be just dashing?
I'm thinking that's just what might save you a plane ticket in September.
Oh, that would be lovely if it happened in September.
You never know.
True that. True that.
You never know. But also, you need to... sorry, I'm eating a celebratory chocolate muffin.
Chip on. Let's go.
Yeah. You need to get your ticket bought because those prices are going to keep going up and up and up and up, and you could be left forking out a huge amount for an airplane ticket.
Right, which we're not planning on doing.
No. Well, there's bases to buy with that money.
Of course there are. At least one.
Oh. Cheers, by the way.
Cheers.
Well done, lads. Well done. Good job. Yeah. Okay. So the gigs go well?
It was quite the adventure.
Did you have anyone else in the band that you... Wasn't this the thing you were MDing?
Yes.
So did you pick the rest of the band?
No, they had the band picked, but they pulled me in for the MD position. And then it was do all of this. And, oh, look, we got duct tape that matches. Oh, that. And then, of course, running the ears rig and setting up shop.
I'm being told I'm low level. Hold on a minute. Let's just check. Mic volume level. I've turned all the other bits and bobs. DDD. Well, I'm not going to be playing bass tonight. I'll select automatically adjust mic volume. Is that better? Earlier on, people were saying I was too loud, but I know your volume level is always like, wow, when I go back through the editing thing.
Well, you know, it comes with...
Well, let's see if that's better. Is that better? I have to be careful, otherwise we end up with over-the-top levels and it all distorts.
And then it sounds like, I'm here to tell you the whole story.
Yeah, which ain't great. Puck 27, you're very low. Right, dealt with that better. Thank you very much. Cool.
Lovely.
So is there going to be, how much more work with that? What's coming up?
Also, I've already
more
booked,
dates. Or?
I've already booked July 4th. And actually, this next weekend, I'm going out with a different artist.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I've got another one kicking up. I've got to learn 17 songs by Friday.
You can do that. I can do 40 in 6 hours. You can do 17 by Friday.
I think so. Well, the guy told me to. The guy told me as well. He said you can use charts if you want to, and he handed me a whole stack of them.
You don't need that.
No.
Have them for reference to learn it, and then just
key
commit
point
to memory. Old school.
Key point. Yep, that's
old school, mate. You don't want to be reading off iPads and charts. Come on.
Preferably no. Takes away all the entertainment.
It doesn't look great. Yeah, come on. We professional, as they say on that French and Saunders sketch with Roland Riveron. As Lemmy said, I'm a professional. Exactly. You don't need charts and all that. Cake.
Nope. But I'll read them to learn the bits, and then I'll hit it.
Of course. Yeah. Get it in the old brain, and then just keep playing it. We got 3 days, so you're fine.
Yeah.
You can do that.
I can do it. I can do it.
I can do it. I can really move. Mr. Pink is looking wicked. He has that effect, you know. That's it.
Cheers for
that. That beard's not for the faint at heart, I can assure you.
No, it's not. Well, I seem to see another beard in the corner that needs some color. I see.
Meet Hoyt.
Hello, Hoyt.
Okay, I'm some guy.
This is Jamie Millard. He's very famous.
I don't know about that.
in limited circles.
Right,
course,
there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, he's all good. So have you seen the pictures of Nick's signature bass? It's all
I have.
up.
Grainger, yes, I have.
Looks great, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I have to say, the one that is it Gareth? It's Gareth and is it Darren? One of them did their own version of it with a dragon eye colour.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that?
Not yet.
Oh, let me get you a little picture.
Oh, please do.
That was a bit of a Del boy there. Sorry. Grainger guitars I need for that. Let me just get you a picture of this. This is an absolute belter.
So while you're out scouting pictures, what have I missed in chat time?
Oh, everything.
I hear status. I hear status calling. I can't imagine why, but
here we go. Let me think. Okay, I'm going to press play. See if I can share this.
All right.
I'm going to try and share this screen. Nope, it's on that, isn't it? There we are. Let's see if you guys can see this.
There we go.
You can. So this is the guy who's making it is building this for himself.
Okay.
It's based on Nick's model and what have you. So this is a tiger eye finish. Color's called, and it's an absolute beaut.
That's a stunner.
And you're looking at. I mean, that's stunning now. Wait until it's finished because it's about a 2-minute video, so it does all the buffing and all the compound stuff going on. I mean, it's a lovely looking instrument that they're making some serious. It's no surprise that Nick used one of their basses. Clearly,
no, I can't argue that. I wonder what it would look like in tiger stripe with pink.
I'm sure if you have a word, they'll be at Nick's do. You can have a chat, can't you?
I can always have a chat, have a curry.
You can have a chat. But this is the Midas bass designed by Nick Smith. So basically his family and the company Grainger Guitars commissioned to make that bass. They were already in the process of starting the build when Nick passed away in January. So now I don't know what the deal is, whether the family are paying for it or they're just making it, but it's going to be raffled at the event that Jamie and I are going to be playing. Hopefully Richard will be there as well. A few other people here on the channel. You're more than welcome. Come and on Sunday, September the 7th at Charters in Peterborough, we're going to be celebrating the life of Nick Smith. There's going to be lots of playing. It's a gig, basically, outdoors, hopefully.
It is.
And it's going to be a blast. So that bass is going to be there. They're showing you the grain.
Oh, that's nice.
And the bass is going to be raffled off. It'd be raffled. It's not auctioned, it's raffled.
Right.
And some lucky person will be getting one of those, but in green. And very nice instrument.
Lovely.
Yeah. You see all the figuring in that edge binding.
Oh yes.
The edge of the
top. Yep. Edge of the top.
Yeah. Technical.
Make sure you got your teeth in. It's all good.
That's right.
Yes.
But very nice. I like that finish. That's good. Although I'm quite a cherry sunburst sort of bloke, so if they want to knock one of those up, I'll. And actually, I did have a chat with them at the at Nick's funeral. I was having a chat with them about getting some review models over.
Sounds good too.
So yeah, worth checking out. Grainger Guitars, very good.
Very nice.
So yeah, very good indeed. All right, let's go. We've got a few messages here. So Sammy Ray, Mr. Pink is looking wicked. Yeah, George Iliadis, good to see you all the way from Australia. Hope you're doing well, my man. Suffolk Triumph, nice flame maple on that. Yeah, very, very nice. They do some lovely timber work at Grainger Guitars. Didn't really know about them. I don't know how long they've been going. We never had any of their stuff at the mag. Thanks, Sammy. Got your private message. You got to run. Thanks. Cool. Take it easy. Have a great week. Let me know about the bass if you want to go down that road. Cool. I didn't really know much about them until Nick started using it. I remember getting a message from him saying, "You got to see this company, Grainger Guitars. They're amazing." And I was like, working at the mag, I get bombarded with exactly that line every week. Of course, everyone finds another company that's doing great things. There's loads of great stuff out there. But again, it's getting things that are niche like that out into the public domain. Sadly, Nick's death is the reason people are suddenly, oh, they're very nice, very good. So, and that's why I said to them, you get some basses to me, I'll happily review them, feature them on the channel. You can do what you like with the content. You can share it out, do your thing. But they've been a bit busy. So when I see them at Nick's thing, I'll give them a little nudge and say, send me three different models and
one in pink,
some videos and some comparison. Tartan for you.
Tartan, yes, of course. Nice,
Gloss
nice
finished tartan.
nice curly maple and a nice. Would be
I
lovely.
tell you, my band leader in Uncle Funk, the Funkle, he
Yeah.
knows a good drop of wine. That is cracking. I have to say, well done, Simon. Simon ain't watching. He's on Hoodoo Radio doing Uncle Funk plays, but whatever that is, it's fab.
Nice.
Looks good.
In the back of the throat, very good. I'm going to have a little glass of that.
Well, you know, the king prefers a bottle of Merlot, but you know.
Yeah. What does he know? What does he know?
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. So here we are. Yeah. So what's bass news over your way? What's you seen anything up for sale or anything come your way lately?
You know, I've seen people are selling stuff all over the place. I've noticed this is good. You all might get a laugh out of this one. There's been a resurgence in, you're all sitting down, Gibson Ripper basses.
There is.
Yes.
Because Gibson have come out with their the reissue stuff,
which is rubbish. But yeah,
hasn't Mike Dirnt from Green Day started using them again?
He never stopped. He just had the Fender along for the ride. But that was the Grabber 3 with the 3. They called it a $1.50, 3 single coils. But this is the actual, the one they reissued the thing they called the Grabber, but you can't slide the pickup, so it's not really a Grabber.
Right. Okay.
There are a couple. There is a guy you may know of named Curtis Novak.
Yep.
He makes pickups and
makes pickups.
all
Yeah, they Viv Wilcock uses them on some of his basses.
So he reverse engineered a Grabber pickup and the sliding plate and he sends it out when you purchase it as a set. He sends out the template that you mount to the body with 2-sided tape so you can route for the little slider plate.
Okay.
You can make it actually so you can spend $600 on a used one, or $5 if you get it, if you're kind of cheeky, and you can set it up and then route it out and you'll have the sliding pickup.
Got it.
Mm-hmm. So other than that, the Ripper, though, is the one that's the set neck with the 2 pickups. And it's, you know, that was they wanted to call it the top of the line because it wasn't a bolt-on neck. But I've seen a lot of them pop up lately, and I've seen people start chattering and nattering on about
prices going up.
Well, they've been up. Now they've been up. They're at $3,000 for a nice one, which is surprising to me any which way you look at it, because every time I purchased one, it was about $800. So
okay,
it is what it is.
Keith Doherty's asked us a question. Has anyone heard of the Providence dual bass station pedal? Seen it on the Ian King bass rig rundown at Wembley video. Very good video. Ian, good to see you. A preamp with 2 inputs for 2 basses with separate controls. To be honest, the Radial Bassbone did that 20 years ago because I reviewed one. It was one of the first preamp pedals you could plug 2 basses in and control the output and the EQ on both basses, so you could match. So if one was super hot, a bit like if you had a Stingray on one input and a Kubicki Factor on the next, you could even them up so they weren't disparate in terms of output. But you know, whatever Ian uses is going to be top line. So yeah, I have heard of that because of him, same as you, Keith. So
there you
anyone
go.
that's looking for one of those things, certainly if you're in theatre land or similar kind of situations, it's the thing to have. I don't think it's very cheap. Typically, let's have a look. Providence dual bass station.
If the brand name is dual, it's going to be expensive.
Yeah,
because I know that there's a company that uses that name, and those are not at all cheap.
Oh well, here's a little thing for you. It's £218.
That's not bad.
So clearly not a very expensive thing at all. So I was talking a load of absolute cobblers. Whereas if you compare it to the EBS Stanley Clark Signature acoustic preamp, which is similar to their Microbass 3, that's up around 265 to 300. So yeah, not that bad at all, really.
I think you need cake to go with the wine.
I've got cake. I've got chocolate muffins here.
Perfect. See, how about that?
I was appalled at the prices. Tesco's in Gerrard's Cross had their cakes up for yesterday. There was nothing on deal. So I thought, well, balls to that. I'll have chocolate muffins instead. So
there you go.
And also, it's a lot easier to eat than trying to have some slippery slab of cake all around my gob while I'm trying to do a live chat. So, you know, presentation is everything, can't you tell?
There would be questions.
People don't come here on this channel for presentation, I can assure you. But yeah, Keith, yes, no, it's not pricey at all. It seems like a good bit of kit. Do you know what though? 20 years ago, I remember getting that pedal for review. Actually, let's have a little look here. Let me fire it up. I'll share the review with you, of course.
I'm going cook, y'all. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Good to
Cheers.
see you. Thank you.
See y'all later.
Anytime. Welcome anytime. There we go. Oh, so we're back to the three amigos. There we are.
Dun-dun-dun.
Right, let me open up.
One of these things is not like the other.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Pedal reviews. Here we
That
go.
blows
Right.
the beard.
Radial Tonebone. I reviewed this on the 31st of May, 2005. Actually, that's not what I want at all. That's going to give you the text
You could have
file.
feathers on and a big thing, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, what, the
Yeah,
Uncle
good.
Funk costume on your bike?
You could you could have the Uncle Funk costume, but you got to have something kind of dangling here at the
Yeah,
bottom.
the old, you know.
Who says I don't?
Well, I don't see anything. Like
You can't see very much from there.
oh, well, it's 5 o'clock shadow.
Right, let me, while you're being daft, let me just call up this file.
I got a week to catch on a bus for 4 days. Come now.
Hold on, yeah.
Jamie Daft? Never. No.
Review
No.
published. That's what I want. Right, here we go.
Yeah, we've got the mouth sealant right here.
That's it.
Oh, yeah.
Very important. Right, there we go. Radial Tonebone Bass Bone.
There it
I
is.
can't remember what I said. Let's just zoom in on that a little, Mr. B, and we can see what I actually wrote 20 years ago. Oh, don't do much. Oh, I want the graphic. There we are. Thank you. And we zoom in a tad. Build quality. This is a ruggedly constructed stomp box, and it's built to last. It has been. No, read that properly. It has been intelligently designed so that it's unlikely to incur any mishaps like broken sockets or controls. I think that's because everything is recessed on the side. Yeah, it is pretty much. Sound. As it has been designed specifically with bass in mind, it maintains low register frequencies and has enough tonal options to cater for even the most extreme players and playing styles. Plenty of features for a device of this type, but I would like to see a built-in tuner possibly, and also a separate mute control. Value, reasonable value. What was it priced at that time? 229 quid. Reasonable value. There are so many stomp box DI units out there that perform similar functions. It comes down to how well they do the job. Most gigging bassists would find this box very useful. Nothing stunning in the looks department. The wow factor occurs under the casing. Tonally very good. A reasonable score for the bass bone of 86 out of 100. I really like the flexibility of the box. A great addition to any bassist gig bag or pedal board. There we go. So back then, 20 years ago, these sort of things weren't common. And people have been screaming out for something to level up other than like a mixer, like a Mackie mixer to do a similar job. So when this came along, it was like, oh, people sort of raced towards it. But it's kind of fallen off the radar a bit since then.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a good box. And I do say again, Rich.
Radial Tonebone Bass Bone.
Yeah, that Radial do like a whole range of DI boxes and stuff. Mark King swears by them. They did a thing called the Tonebone for guitar, and again, it was to even up output levels. So if you were doing a theatre show or whatever, and you've got to switch between Les Paul, Strat, Telecaster, acoustic guitar, electro, you could do it all through this box.
Right.
It's that sort of concept. So you're just evening out the output. So the guy out in front of the house isn't going, well, the bass was really loud, so I had the level down. They changed to a different bass and no one can hear him. So he then pumps it back up. You change back to the loud bass and it's suddenly distorted everywhere. So the idea was you plug both instruments into this. You can set separate output levels, and then there's an EQ section on each one as well. So there we go.
There you go.
There we go. But it was a good bit of kit. I remember when it came out, and lots of the guys I knew on the cover circuit were saying, oh, I saw your review of that box. is it as good as it seems? Like, yeah, it does exactly. I plug 2 basses in. I even up the, super hot bass comes down a bit, and a bit quieter one goes up, and you just even it up, and suddenly 2 basses sound the same.
Makes it simple.
Very handy if you're in a covers band and you snap a string or something goes wrong with a bass, battery goes, and you just go for your second one, and you just want everything the same. You don't want to then have to be re-queuing the amp, and that's the principle.
It's a great idea for sure.
Yeah,
it is.
Something like
because you can do it in fretless in 2 inputs as well if you have to swap between the 2, unless you're playing a double neck like some of us have done. So yeah.
Gareth Harrison, friend uses the EBS Stanley Clark Pre. Let's show this. Yep, and to even out the volumes on his electric bass and upright. That's the same principle. The
Indeed.
EBS thing is the newer unit. I think it's been around about 4 or 5 years now. But you see, lots of people won't go near it because they think it's just for acoustic basses. It's not. It's for whatever bass you want to throw at it. I think Dave Swift was getting good use out of it for a while. I think he's still got one. I don't know how much he's using it. But yeah, so all these boxes, I mean, I've got the Microbase 2 and 3, and all these things, there's loads of little inputs, outputs, gadgets, preamps, XLRs, headphone, auxiliary music sources, EQ outputs. It's just great, But you don't think about buying these things until you need it, and then it's like, oh Christ, I need to get one of these, and then you get it, and then invariably the project you needed it for stops, and it sits in the box and it's in the drawer, and then they go up for sale at half price on Bass Chat. So I was telling Richard earlier that a couple of nice alembics, one at Bass Direct, one at Bass Brothers in the past couple of days.
I have actually seen both of those, and I'm a little buggered by Bass Brothers because there's still one video missing.
Well, you're going to have to give him a bit of a nudge. Do you want his number? Oh, you don't use WhatsApp?
I can send him dirty messages. It's all right.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll let you do that then.
That's right. No.
Poor Will.
I'm just.
Come on, Will. Come on, son.
Because it's been sitting about for a
Is
while.
the bass still there? Is it still there in the listing?
There's 2 of them there. Have a look.
Wow.
One is actually aligned fretless. I'm about to be surrounded by fretless, so.
Oh no!
Yes, you did share a few status with me on Facebook yesterday. I replied.
You did.
I think, yeah. There was the Smart Bass, which I don't think the guy's going to get that price for. There was the black. It's an in-between. It's like a stealth, but it's not. It's a custom order without active EQ. It's passive with humbuckers. It's meant to be like a matrixy kind of thing, and it wasn't. It was a different bass. But anyway, it's a guy, I think he was trying to sell privately, and I think he's now had to do like a commission sale on the 3 instruments. What was the third one, Gaz? I can't remember. In fact, I'll go back into my chat to Messenger.
Well, I know that Will has 2, and they're sitting about, which is interesting. And last time we spoke about the one in France, which is absolutely knackered. And there's no way they're going to get that kind of dosh for it.
No.
Is that the French one? Is a series
3,
isn't it? Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
isn't it the 3? Yep, it's a 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think Peach Guitars here have a newer series 23 as well.
Oh, what
I know.
status?
Yeah.
The other bass Gareth and I were talking about was a Status Groove bass. So it's a guy, someone in Colville. He's offloading 3 Status basses. So one is a Groove 4-string in burgundy red. There's the Smart bass in a red, and then there's it just says Status Graphite 5-string bass. So it's basically a stealth body with humbuckers, graphite top, coat, and then it's it's gone. Maybe it's sold.
Could be.
It looked like it had like an energy control setup.
Yeah. Grooves tend to be, of course, priced.
Yeah, they go
You
up
know,
and down. They
why-
used to be quite reasonably priced, like 500-600 quid. And for some reason,
Yeah.
people think 'cause it's got the status name on, it's suddenly worth like 1,400 quid.
Yeah,
A
that's
groove
right. Yeah.
bass has never
Yeah,
been worth 1,400 quid.
In actual fact, shockingly, in about 2009 or 10, I sold a groove for 350 quid.
Blimey.
Yeah.
But again, you don't know these things at the time.
No, you don't. No. Very true.
And you could say it about any
Excuse
bass
me for a moment.
manufacturer. Yes, sir.
I still
you
have
could
the
say,
ball case.
I beg your pardon.
I said if that was the case, I still have the 6 wells sitting here.
Exactly.
Right.
There's 2 up at Bass Gallery at the moment. One for $8,000, which I think is a 2019, and there's a 2022 5-string for 11.
Yeah.
Fill your boots. Yeah. Hang on, there's a couple of notifications there. Yep. Oh, Jay, thank you very much, JJ Bass. He's
We know him.
yes, he's plugged my merch. Thank you very much.
Speaking of
Maybe I'll
JD,
get a few sales. If anyone wants Brooks's Bass Corner shirts, obviously I'm sporting a Mark King model tonight. Actually, we'll take. Hang on, let's give you the full whack. So it's the Mark King quote I've got on here from July 2017. He was as far from me as the camera is now, and we were talking about when Mark King and Friends played at Ronnie Scott's, and they did Influences and a load of other stuff. And a guy came up he said, a chap said he left the show because the LEDs on my bass were too piercing and I should turn them off. Right, what was it say? Turn them off once in a while. Cheek. Quite. But anyway, you want one of these t-shirts or a different colour or a different style of t-shirt. Merch. Affiliate links in the description box below. There's 170 odd items. There's 15 different designs. If you want a quote shirt, there's Mark King, Nathan East, Chris Squire, and Lee Sklar. And then there's loads of other natty designs that I've sported here on the channel over.
Lee Sklar's is easy. It's just this.
Yeah, it's just a finger. No, Lee Sklar's one is actually very nice. I think I've got it on a mottled charcoal shirt, but it's like ice blue and yellow. It looks really good. You should get one, Rich. We do all sizes.
I shall order one.
A Lee Sklar quote shirt.
Okay.
Or a Chris Squire, maybe.
Would
or
I
Nathan East.
Would I sort of benefit from Lee's beard of course, knowledge and experience?
Oh, well, that's added bone. That comes in the box.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Yeah. He personally said, if you can sell some T-shirts with my name on it, you go for it. In fact, I think I got Mark's reply, which was similarly along the same lines. If you can sell some merch with my name on it, you go right ahead. Hang on, let's do that. Let's search for Mark King.
I don't know if JJ is still on the chat, but if you haven't seen his Series 1, JD, you should see it. Just saying. He had the inlays. He had to ask Mark King for permission to use the Queen's silhouette from the level 4. He did that for they put inlays on his JD with those instead of the Saturns or the what have yous.
Yeah, it's all trademark stuff. You have to go through the appropriate channels.
And he did. It looks quite dashing, actually.
Yeah. If you approach people and you ask them for a permission to do these sort of things, invariably they'll say yes, or they'll say what you need to do it. Much better to do that than just go like a bull in a china shop and then they pull you up on it.
Right.
So when I was doing these quote shirts, I found out copyright. I own the copyright on the interview, but you can't just use someone's quote. You have to get their permission.
Correct.
A person's quote is owned by them, even if it's in an interview that you've conducted. So I own the copyright, as do Future, on all the interviews I did. But you've got to get their permission to use it if you're going to make money from it. That was the deal. If
That's
you're not making money from it, it's not such a thing. So I did. The only people I didn't hear back from was Chris Squire's estate, but I've never heard from anyone. In fact, I don't even know if I've sold any of the Chris Squire shirts or mugs. So you're missing out is all I can say. You know, you're missing out. They're good shirts. They're good shirts. The Spreadshirt stuff is really good. Takes a lot of washes. The mugs are great. I think the Brooks's Base Corner mugs we've got here have done about 200 dishwasher washes and they haven't faded. So it's good quality stuff, gang. Good quality stuff. Ollie, J Series 1 is... Oh, you're dribbling. You don't want to do that. Yeah, he's got some lovely guitars. I don't know. Are you still there, Jay? Are you still watching? You may have dropped off. I don't know. I don't mean dropped off in terms of gone to sleep. I mean, you might have just dropped off and go and do something else.
That's entertaining. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
So we took you in.
We're a riveting chat, you see. I didn't catch that. You want to repeat?
We tuck him in. We're going to sing him a lullaby and all that.
Yeah. Nice warm drink.
Oh, yes.
So just checking stream health here. I think we're all good. Let's just check that. That's fine. Yeah, stream health is healthy and excellent. Very good. That's all I asked for.
Lovely.
Very good. Yes. Yeah. So what do you want to talk about there? It's 10:05. I haven't done that, have I? I haven't done a warm up here. It's 10:05 here in the UK. Actually, it's 8 minutes past 10. This is live chat 117, celebrating my 30 years as a professional musician. And thank you very much. Oh, there you go. That's the reason for the wine and the chocolate muffins.
Chocolate muffins.
Another one of those. They're not going to waste, I tell you.
No. Because if you don't eat it, I'm sure one of the little critters shall.
Not chocolate to the dogs.
Oh, no.
Kill them. No.
A bite does
And
wonders.
now we get someone comment, you mean you can't give chocolate to a dog? And people used to. Idiots.
Well, the other thing is you don't give them Brussels sprouts, but that's for a different reason.
No, I don't suggest you do. Not unless there's a clear run between the kitchen and the back door.
Exactly.
Off you go. It's a corridor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Powered.
Oh, indeed. That's right.
Although we used to give our Labrador occasionally, if we had a roast dinner, he'd get like a spoonful of Swede, and I realised after the second time that's what happened the first time. So he never got it again after that.
Oh, yes.
Bless him.
Mm-hmm.
Poor boy.
Yeah. Okay, so now that we transitioned from bass to JJ to sleep with a warm beverage, and
Yes.
we've come through muffins, wine, and dogs, and rocket power. There we go. There's a segue for you.
Excellent.
There it is.
I think in order for us all to match, Mike needs to A, shave his head, and B, grow a beard.
Well,
Hey,
it's not going to happen on either count, I can tell you.
we should have a little contest between now and the time that
I'm
I.
halfway there.
Hey, what we'll do, Rich? What we'll do? Let's come up with an idea, and that way, whoever gets the right answer gets to choose if we shave his head or not. How about that?
Balls. I'll say to that. I don't need help receding. It's all going anyway.
Those as well, eh?
And I have to maintain my youthful good looks, so a beard's not an option.
And then the next thing he's going to do, he's going to have status written on his arm. You know,
Yeah.
I like the JD that we've got here.
Yeah, nice.
You know, so
Quite.
I can see it now. He's going to come out. He's going to come out in leather. You know, with no hair and a big beard
Yeah,
He's
That's
got-
not Rob Halford.
on his arm. You know,
yeah.
I think that was
Westport, you're back. How did your show go? We need the info.
Did he use the old jazz bass or did he use something else as
I
well?
don't know. He didn't tell. He popped in, said hello, said he was off to do a show,
Right.
and now we're waiting for the aftermath.
Sounds like fun.
So, in your absence, the past couple of weeks, show was great, very good.
Good.
Done, sir. In your absence over the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about bass manufacturers and models and stuff, pros and cons and all that. So if you want to talk about a particular brand, and I'm sure you wax lyrical about many, hallelujah, you can kick off if you wish.
Well, obviously we know what I could start with, but we're not going to.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Because I have to say, when we talked about Rickenbackers,
yes,
me, a couple of weeks ago,
yep,
that was very informative, and I got
it was actually.
I made a load of remix shorts, and I had loads of people talking about it.
Cool.
So now, bearing in mind we're both YouTubers,
right?
You know, or you should do, that if we talk about stuff like this, you can go into it,
yep,
and extract. You can remix from my videos.
Yes.
So where we're having a little chat now, feel free to use that content and create your own remix shorts.
I'll start with
we're about to talk about.
Like this. Here's the cupcake.
Well, if that's what your channel's all about, then off you go. But you know what we talk about bass-wise. If you want to use any of that,
oh yeah,
do it.
I know. Sure, yeah. I cheers for that.
Because I have to say the feedback I got from our chat about Rick's was really good.
Cool.
It was really good. People found it really handy.
Well, you know, so, the one thing I can tell you, and I don't know if I ever told you this, or maybe you know, but Rich, I don't think you know this because I've never said it with all three of us are here. A bunch of years back, I wrote a little book, and I put it up on Amazon, and it was the Pink Bassman's basically field guide to purchasing a vintage bass.
Right.
And I broke Rickenbacker, Fender, and Gibson in bits. Because I found so many people, especially with Fenders, were getting knobbed.
Yeah.
So I put very specific things in there based on all the stuff I've had that kind of that nobody has said that's wrong. To kind of distinguish what you're getting if you say you're going to spend $5,000 for this precision bass, for example. How do you know it's a precision bass that's worth $5,000? Because I knew some folks who had gotten kind of straddled down the road, shall we say.
Yes.
And
ripped off.
And it isn't.
We would say.
We would say that as well, but you know, we're trying for adventurous speech. So, yeah. Just because, you know. But I mean, there you can get ripped off very easily. And it if you don't know what you're looking at, I mean, it kind of goes, it goes with
buying a car. Once you've taken it away, you've gone home.
It's yours. Yep. Now, if you order it and you say I'll have that, and it comes to your place in a box, you know, usually those come unless from a shop or what have you. Usually you've got 30 days or whatever to go. Yes. This is great.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. From an individual, you don't necessarily have that unless they give you that up front and say if you don't like it, send it back. Which doesn't usually happen. At least in my experience, that's not been the case. So to be an educated purchaser, shall we say, an educated buyer, is critical to your success in not getting run down the road.
Definitely.
And I learned that one the hard way when I was 18 years old. And so there was I swapped a Fender Precision because I needed a guitar. I swapped a Fender Precision for a 1964 or 65 Fender Jaguar. And it was, you know, it had been played and whatnot. It was candy apple red matching headstock, blah, blah, blah. What they didn't tell me was that they had monkeyed around with the truss rod. And, you know, so once it's done.
Yeah.
So needless to say, the one thing I can tell you out of that, and this was in Chicago back sometime, after I had anything I wanted from that place, I would walk in there and I would immediately say to whoever, I'll have this, but I was messed over by this person, so I need to talk to your manager now. So I walked away with things for very little money after that.
Okay.
So, cause, I mean, you know, what's the old joke about, you know, screw me over once, shame on you, screw me twice. Notice, screw me twice, shame on me, right? So that all it took was once. And after that, I mean, now you got to figure I was 18, that was years back. So obviously pre-internet and all that sort, I did a lot of digging, and all the books and stuff that people were preparing, whether it was Tony Bacon, Richard Smith, any of those things, I grabbed every one of them. And I still have out in the other room in the studio here, I have a shelf, and I have a shelf of nothing but the old books that were written to explain companies from day one going forward.
Yeah.
And I read them like school books, like really. And then I would take that and apply it to anything I purchased. That's the reason why I could speak on the Rickenbackers so much, because I literally drilled those books, and I ended up purchasing them, taking them apart, going through them all, doing all this stuff, swapping all this. And that's why I had so many. And that's why I got to know them as well as I did and do, because of that fact. You know, and so it's important to be an educated buyer.
Definitely.
And
it's been one of the reasons why I haven't dipped my toe in that world. Also because my preference for many years wasn't passive bases.
Right.
But it became a thing mid-2000s where certain pieces of work that you might get recommended for would insist that you had a Fender bass.
Yes.
And a traditional 60s or 70s one.
Oh, yeah.
Would put you up the pecking order. And I remember going to the gallery in about 2008 and saying to Alex Carter, I might be involved in a project soon where I'm going to need a couple of vintage instruments. So if you get something nice comes through, 60s or 70s, tell me. And then as it happened, that project didn't happen for me for whatever reason. And thankfully I hadn't laid down like $7 or $8 grand on a bunch of vintage stuff. But it's always concerned me that, yes, you can buy from a reputable store and you would hope that they know what they're talking about, but there's no guarantee. A shop could take a consignment or a commission sale or buy it off the guy if they wanted money quick.
Yep.
And they might just want to flip it as quick as possible, knowing that it's not what it is.
Right.
But they'll say it is just to get it sold. And it's like cars, isn't it? It's such a murky world, and unless you're totally au fait with all the things you need to be looking out for an instrument of a certain period or year, and even then, certainly with Fenders, you know, certain plates were used from the year 2 years after on a body that was made in a different year and a neck on another year, and that hardware didn't come out for another 2 years. It's and if you're buying these things as investments as well as just being a great sounding bass, you've got double, you know, it's doubly important you get this decision right, because you could just be outlaying money and you're never going to make that money back. And I said to someone recently, because they asked me why I didn't have any vintage Fenders, I said, but what happens if a screw on the bridge saddle goes? We had this discussion, didn't we?
We did.
We had this discussion. If the bridge saddle screw goes, you've then got to replace that bridge saddle screw, and you've suddenly lost a couple of £100 off the value of that instrument because it's not the original one.
Right.
In fact, the original one doesn't work. That's by the by. Whoever might want to buy this off you after the event is going to want the original screws, even though they can't. And where does it stop? It could be a bridge saddle. It could be the screws. It could be a neck plate. It could be a string tree. Machine head stops working. Truss rod goes.
Anything.
Frets start lifting out. Pickup, wiring. And you've bought these bases. I mean, how many times, I wonder, you know, just how the brain works. How many people stockpiled vintage Fender instruments or Rickies or Gibsons or whatever, left them in their cases, didn't check on them, and now they've come to look at them 20, 30, 40 years later. And there might be serious problems. There might be serious issues. There might be moisture in the case.
I have a story.
Mice.
I can tell you this.
All these things, termites in certain locations.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one for you. So there is a famous guitar shop in Nashville, Tennessee. It's called Gruen Guitars.
Right.
I took Stuart there when he was here, Mike, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
So here's a funny one. Some years back, somebody had brought in a 1959 Precision. It looked like it was brand new. Not a speck, not a nick, not a scuff, nothing. Here's the funny part. You look at it laying flat in the case, it looked amazing. When you pick it up and start to put tension on it, the headstock did this.
Oh, no.
Oops.
No.
The reason why is because whoever purchased it originally had those lovely old, really robust flat wounds on it. And they put it under the bed or in the closet, and they didn't loosen up the strings. So over time, it decided it wanted to be a tree again and do this.
Lovely.
Scary stuff.
And they still had, now this was some years back, but they still had $6,000 on it.
Oh, lovely. Good stuff. Yeah.
So
this is what I'm talking about.
Well, see, this is the thing, and this is why it's important. I have not owned as many Fenders vintage ones as I have Ricks, but it's close. It's very close. And I spent some time, being in my head, doing things, understanding, following, listening, watching, reading. And there's a lot of information about Fenders, and some of it's legitimate, some of it's just bollocks. But hey, look!
Don't hold back. Don't you hold back.
Oh yeah. So I could have said the dog's bollocks. Okay, it's fine.
Right. Yeah, we can say that too.
Or even the whole dog.
Or the whole dog.
Even better.
But there's so many people who think they're a what's the word? An expert on these. Yeah, the truth really is, and this is something that people don't like to think about, but this is the truth. If you see photos or video from the original Fender factory in California from back in the day, you'd find a box of necks. You'd find a rack of bodies.
Yeah.
Find boxes of bits and bobs and all this thing. And what they would do is they would just do this. Here it is. Yeah. So there was there was none of this, oh, I'm feeling the neck profile. Oh, it goes with this body. Oh.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, that did not happen. There are people who have built their shrine to their 63 precision bass, and it's
yeah, they do. That's right.
Please, it was a bass assembled from this bit here, and they threw it all together, set it up, and lovely. Oh, good, we've got jubbly. It's a bass. So that's something that people don't think about. They assume that somebody's back with a tuning fork. Oh, okay, on the body it sounds like this. Oh, on the neck it sounds like this. Oh, there we go. No. It was just throwing things together as they grabbed from a box and put it all together.
Absolutely. So, as a player of the 60s and 70s instruments, better. Because I've got a 2018 American Original Jazz, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Okay.
All right. And that's got the period wiring and everything in it.
Sure, yeah.
And it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't see something made before, say, 1965 being thousands of pounds better. So
let's talk about that.
Go on. Go for it.
Maybe in a moment, but or someone may have a comment in the chat. In the 80s,
right,
there was a big push. There were a couple of different guitar shops, especially here in the US, that were pushing the hype that said that older is better.
Yeah.
I mean, we can make all the jokes in other venues about what that could be, but the reality of it is, as we've moved on, these things have continued to age. Are they really better? That is an extremely subjective question.
Yeah.
Because you can purchase to your point, you can purchase a new or newer bass that has everything for all intents and purposes aside from the finish, unless it's nitro. Everything.
Yeah.
So you could do everything but that. Is it better? Is it worse? Here's something to consider. There are many a 60s model Fender Jazz bass. They vary in year. Pick one between 60 and 70. Pick one where you will find that after time, the neck suddenly decides it wants to turn into an S.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. When they do that, you can't flatten them out. There's a limited ability that you have between the rod and doing the frets And oh, look at this. He's giggling over here. Uncle has got it. Oh, my goodness.
When you say S, I actually think of it more as, because any bass can do a banana flip. That's
right.
Fine.
Right.
When you say an S, I actually think of it more like, you know, those 3D ergonomic basses where the goes like that.
The Torzal
ones.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When that's what I see when you say it starts to go like that. That's what
Torzals and twist. Yeah.
When you get a twist, there ain't even certain heat treatment isn't going to get that out. I had it on the 62 reissue jazz I had. Yeah. No amount of trying to sort that would get it right. And they tried leveling frets and truss rod and sticking it in clamps and never got right. So I moved the bass on in the end.
So the idea of it doing a twist like this is one way. But there also is the other thing that some of the Fenders do, and they're very good at it. They actually start at the nut and they do this.
Oh, right. Okay.
So they get...
Yeah.
I can't think of another word for it. They get a hump in the middle of the neck.
Yeah.
Or a certain position on the neck, and you cannot remove it. Because even if you were to take the fingerboard off, pull the truss rod out, and plane everything where it's all straight, and you slap it all back together, it's still going to do this. Or it may smooth out for just a moment, and then as soon as you apply tension, it goes back.
Right. Okay.
And this in the 60s jazz basses especially, and I'm not sure the reason why those specifically are doing this, but I have seen a lot of them. Now, with that said, in the other case, what happens is you are flat at the nut and you're flat at the body, and it does this in the middle. Mm-hmm. And you can tell by where the frets, where the body end of the frets are. I was trying to see if I had something I could show you but you can see that where the neck is clamped in or screwed in, that's holding it to the body, it's rigid. And then from there, it takes off. Mm-hmm. You can't get that out either, no matter the heat or the anything. So what they did, and I've seen this a lot as well, especially now, shift gears for a moment, on the 60s Precisions, if you look at the heel of the neck where the truss rod adjuster is, and you look at the thickness of the rosewood, you can tell if it's been planed. Because what they would do is they would plane it on an angle to where your wood towards the body would diminish. They would plane the wood off to get the level back flat. And what happens over time is the pressure of the truss rod actually pushes up through the rosewood.
Yes.
Lift and move up. So again, Rich, back to your thing. If you find a newer instrument that's made in the last 15, 20 years, let's say, and the neck is sorted and everything is on point and it sounds good, I would purchase that before I would spend 14.
Yeah, I do usually. That's right. Yeah.
Or anything above, really anything for me above $5,000. I wouldn't spend anything $5,000 because you don't know. And then the other thing on top of that is if you take it out somewhere and you play it, to Mike's point, if you drop a screw or something out or falls off, or what do? You've just, you've lost a few hundred, what have you, losing a piece. And you can't get a replacement for it because it's only original once.
That's right. Yeah.
So there's always a heavy discussion that goes on with purchasing vintage or purchasing new. Honestly, in a lot of people's eyes, getting vintage means that they're getting a piece of history. They're getting something that has character, but to take it out on the road and use it in a gigging situation, unless you just have money to roast, there's no point. You can purchase something newer, something as you can dial in and have your thing on it, but you didn't spend so much for it. And you can get replacement parts by making a phone call or sending an email.
Mm-hmm.
So
we moved this conversation on, I think it might have been last week, Rich, where we started to say, well, with the way status is now,
yes,
they're falling into that bracket as well. They've now moved into that.
They have.
Certain replacement parts now aren't available.
Yep.
And you've got graphite some, not many, but some, where there's laminating going on and certain levels of carbon and graphite moving away.
That's right.
The lacquer
separating. Yeah.
And it's like, people have Okay, they might have been well played, well used, but where are you going to go to get it fixed? Because
Precisely.
status aren't going to do it.
That's the key. Because
And as I found out during lockdown, getting a quote for a refinish, it was the Series 2000 Matrix I had, so I wanted someone to take the gloss coat off. You could leave the graphite coat on there if you want, or it can go. I wanted it resprayed white, gloss coat, £1,000 minimum. And I just looked at it and thought, I'm not dropping £1,000 on that, because as soon as I take it out on a bunch of gigs, it's going to get dinged and banged, and it's white, and So I thought, nah, and I ended up moving that on because I just thought I don't want to spend. I could have left it and left it kept getting battered and dinged, and maybe that would have been fine, but no one would have. People always want a status in perfect condition. Unfortunately,
They do. Yeah, that's
that
right.
doesn't always. It's just one of those brands that, you know, us bass players, you want a status, you want it all glossy, and you want it new, and
Gleamy, shiny.
But again, if you're going to buy a vintage 80s one, unless it's been in for a refinish, because during the early to mid to late 2000s, lots of players were sending their State-Eye back to Rob to do a refurb. So they get a new gloss coat, hardware updated, pickups replaced. And I remember it all on the Level 42 email digest. Nick was one guy. Mark Palmer, if you're there, Funky Hobbit, sometimes comes on the live chat.
Mark,
These people they'd keep buying up the status bases and then go and getting them refurbed at status because it's the best place. So people had missing bridge plates and bridge saddles, and the tuner had come out and the pots were full. They'd go get it all done, keep it for a little while, and then move it on. But
See,
you
and
can't do that. The way it's
con-
going, I don't think they're going to do resprays and gloss and all that. It doesn't want to do anything to do with gas.
Yep. And see, and that's so that in that light, then, you know, if you buy a status that you want to have redone, as long as the neck itself is intact, you could always send it to Martin Sims, or you could send it to, you know,
He's not doing spraying.
He's not spraying either, eh?
No.
Once he stopped doing the bases,
he put it
just
all.
LEDs and mods.
Right. Okay. Well,
There's
that's
loads of places in the UK we're using Martin to do spray.
Mm.
Guys at the gallery, would, you know, if they built a safe from scratch, it would go to Martin for spraying. Well, it doesn't anymore.
So the only place that I can think of is go see Toby over at JD.
You got Toby. You've got Bow Finishing down the south coast, which is where GB and actually they have a very good reputation. And there's Dave Wilson, who's up north. And then I saw some people. Actually, it was Jay that was on here earlier. He's bought a Series 4000, which is the resin body, and he wants that because it's been sent to him. It needed a respray anyway, and it arrived to him, got damaged en route with no evidence of damage occurring in the process with parcel force. So either the seller dinged it and wasn't going to own up to it,
right,
or something else has happened. Anyway, he was asking about resprays, and I was trying to rack my brains as to where you go. But I said, well, look, be prepared.
Toby.
I said, it's a status and it will cost. I mean, I don't know what Toby's charging for stuff, but the problem is with status stuff, it's that thick coat of lacquer.
Yeah, it is.
Which is and that's what ratchets up the cost, because it's time. It's not that it's a job, it's the time it takes to do it. And it's a full-on job, which is why of the 3 places I rang or emailed during COVID to get quote to do that bass I had, the cheapest was £1,000. The most expensive was, I think, 1,300. Well, I can only imagine prices have gone up. That was 5 years ago.
You know, it's
nothing I'm aware of has come down in price in 5 years. So
no.
So I said to Jay, you're going to have to shop around, and people have been going, oh, can't you take it to a car mechanic or car spray shop? But a lot of them don't want to go near guitars because they've got to strip it all back. They've got to take all the... Would you trust a mechanic to take your status apart? I bloody wouldn't. Please, come on. He might know the valve and head cam on a V8 engine, but he ain't going to know how to take a status apart. Why would you entrust that? You'd have to strip it all yourself and then take it in as a basic body and let them get on. But what if it's... Where's your guarantee?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's over here, there's lots of people who will spray, but I can tell you, I have an idea for another attitude base. I think I told you, and I can get it done. It depends on who I want to do it, but it will cost me anywhere from 300 to about $1,000. And that would be just me stripping the body down and having it ready, sealed up and ready for prime.
The weird thing is, respraying never cost that much before. I remember when I got the GB Rumor 5 redone through Bernie at Martin, I think he charged me like 250 quid.
Well, it's funny.
It's amazing how things have gone up.
I had this thing done. We've all seen this little lovely bit. I had this thing done, and it was 300 to do this.
This is it.
And so,
I think some places charge more than others. And I know, look, when I got the quote for the white to be done, I know spray shops hate doing white.
Yes.
They just hate doing it because they get one speck of dirt in it, they go strip it off and do it again. But
right.
I just didn't know. I was really surprised that, states were like, oh, well, it'll be £1,000. I was like, it's a bit steep. I can see a load of messages. John, got your photos. Let me just share those up on here.
Ollie's, while you're loading that up, Ollie's on here speaking about how terrible his Series 1000 Washburn was, talking about humping the neck and all that sort of thing. And yeah, I completely get that, because again, you could plane it, you could do everything you want, you could refret it, do all that sort, and it'll still be terrible.
Well, look at you, John Cooper.
Look at him.
Tripping the light, fantastic. Yes, some nice bases there. Where's his alembic? You're going to do John McVie, you've got to have an alembic in there.
I see a bunch
of that man's cutting corners. I want my money back. Ollie, a lot of the time vintage fenders have flat sawn necks as opposed to quarter sawn. So some struggled with string tension.
That's correct.
Westford, Mike, you can't hear. Oh, you can now because I've turned it up. Right, Ollie, this reminds me of how awful my old Washburn Series 1000 was. The most extreme hump in the neck, and the finger, I beg your pardon, and the finger decided to shrink and come off. The finger?
Neck, probably, yeah.
Right, okay. Also, a painful amount of fret buzz. Some bases just born that way, unfortunately. Gareth, anyone got any bass-related tattoos? I've just sent a pic of mine on Facebook Messenger. Hold on, guys. I'll go in there.
You've already got
it at all.
I gotta say, I showed you this, but I only did this for John.
What's that?
When John and JD passed, JD himself, when he passed, I did this in his honor.
Yeah.
Because the other side really is just Charlie Brown and Snoopy.
Right.
But
Bear me a minute. I'm just saving this tattoo. Hold on. There.
Oh yes.
Right. Let's just rattle through John's photos there. There's another one of these. So this is the guy's pedal board in this Fleetwood Mac tribute. There's a few pedals there, and these I like the way he's gaffer taped over them, so you can't modify them. So that's good. And that is a trick, as it's perfectly valid. But the problem is, if you need to suddenly change something on the fly, you're buggered.
Yes, you.
Because you can't do it quick. Here we are. Right, here's this tattoo. Cheers, Gaz, for this. Let me get in there. It is there.
Oh, Westford, he's going to get a status tattoo. Okay, man, I want to see this.
Ollie, you sorted the fret buzz on the Washburn, but I couldn't get the neck straight enough to get an action any lower than 4 mil. I remember talking to you when you were posting up about that. Yep. Some bases you just can't. Yeah. Again, it was a Washburn. It wasn't a status. So it doesn't behave like graphite where you can get a super low action. Westport, I know also someone that had a Washburn 1000. It was horrible. Seems that everyone I know that had a Washburn 1000 was a horrible experience. They were what they were. You had a decent one, long moved on. That's why I have a non-glossy status. Okay. Michael Anthony, good. Yes, he's come over from Phil's live chat. Welcome. You're welcome to come on. Good to see you. Sorry, we've been in the middle of a three-way bass chat on here. So good to see you. Thank you for checking us out. You're very welcome. Good to see you. Mike Michael Anthony's a lovely guy. He's on Phil DeHov's live chat, so good to see you. Very welcome. Zoom has music, just for your information, listening in stereo on my desktop. Cool. Brooksy, you're only in the right channel. Your guests are in both speakers.
You got stereo bald guys.
Yeah.
Excellent. Brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Am I now in stereo? Am I now in stereo?
We shall
Should
see.
have been anyway.
I think so, yeah.
I think
Two
something
bald guys.
might have been going a little awry on the old audio interface. Possibly.
Jamie,
Yes.
go again.
Go again.
Yeah, you started saying something about two
I said
bald guys.
two bald guys are better than one.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Bill Derbyshire, I had a mate who worked at Aston Martin in Newport Pagnell, and he did a bass body for me in Aston Martin Racing Green, which would be like my T-bass. He also did my Yamaha TR1 motorbike. Sadly, I've never... And then we finish the sentence. Okay, Westport, think I'm going to get a status tattoo. Okay. Bill Derbyshire, that last bit was meant to say I've neither of them now. Right, okay, very good. Michael Anthony, Aston Martin, now James Bond theme in my head. Westport, yeah, I'll try and convince my mum for the status tattoo. Good luck with that.
Go for it. Go for it.
Although you're old enough, you can do what you like.
That's true.
You know. Although if you're living under her roof, she'll say you play by my rules.
Or out you go.
Yeah,
right.
pretty
right.
much.
Yes, indeed.
Ooh.
Well, sometimes tattoos are
lovely drop. This is well done, Simon.
lovely.
Actually, it's a lovely drop. I can actually show you
As he falls off his
if
feet.
you're that bothered. I have the video from Saturday's Uncle Funk show.
Go on.
So this was taken by the sound man who was at the sound station about 300 meters away. No, probably not that. 200 meters away. And he filmed it on his phone. So I'm going to turn the music off because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But you can see. Oh, dear. Let's just mute that. I'll get rid of the banner. There you go. Let me just see if can I move that on a bit. I don't know if I can. No, because it's playing the file.
Yep.
Great. That's good then. Oh, well, you can sit there with that. Anyway, you'll see us all in our regalia in a minute, prancing around like a bunch of strumpets. But there we are. And yeah, it sounds great, but I just can't play it because we'll get a copyright strike, and I'm not willing to do that. So
You said strumpets. I thought you were going to say hairdressers. I was going to stop you there.
No. Although the feathers all need a trim.
Oh, yes.
Put it that way. Westport, living under my dad and my mum's house. They are not together anymore. Okay. Very good. So anyone that's wonders what we do with the Uncle Funk thing, if you haven't seen it on any of the videos before. So we're at the moment 8-piece disco funk show band playing all the disco classics. So we come on and I get people ask me all the time, why are you wearing feathers? Because they expect the big afro and the stupid clothes and flares and all that. We stopped all of that. The old version of the band did that. This version of the band leader, Uncle Funk, Simon, wanted to go for a Brazilian carnival vibe.
Yeah,
but
works.
also in the process of coming through lockdown, Black Lives Matter happened and George Floyd happened. And it was like any disco band that now goes on in big afros and what's the word? Cod black men, if you like, in terms of it being
sort of,
comedic.
Blacking up
We
or
ain't-
something. Yes, yeah.
But we ain't doing all that.
No, not a
that's
good
not
idea.
happening. So we went with this, and it's a much sleeker thing. On our costumes, obviously all the feathers look like flames and what have you, and we've got flames on our trousers. It worked great when we first came out of lockdown because the two female singers were sisters and they did flame eating and flame throwing and all that sort of thing. So it was all very good, but they're not in the band anymore. So the whole fire aspect has kind of gone out of it a little bit. But we're all right. So anyway, I had the empathy. In-ears, pedal board. This will be a gig vlog, or some of this footage will
there
be
he is. Look.
involved in the gig vlog. For gig vlog 17, I'm editing number 9, so you got a little wait. But it's all good. I wish you could hear. So actually, I'm wondering if I can tap into
10 seconds.
instrumental bits, but I won't know
You
where
can
we are.
actually, you can actually put the soundtrack on for 8 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Actually, oh, they are.
Yeah.
I'll wait until there's a section where they're not singing, and then I can let you hear it. But the weird thing was, he captured all this on his phone.
Yep.
And the sound is really, really good. We finished. We went to the sort of back of the field, the area we were in, go and get food.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hear me, you'll hear it, Jamie, because I sent you the link so you can down. The bass is fab. And I don't mind saying it. The bass, in terms of EQ, bass end, bottom end, top end clarity, mids, fabulous. It's me. What do you expect?
It's all there.
George from Shack Attack, I couldn't hear one bit of bass off his bass. Lots of twanginess when he kept going ding, 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 ding.
Right.
But there was no bottom end at all. Now, I don't know if Shack Attack had their own sound man or they were using the sound man for the show. We had our own sound man, so he knows our EQ. He knows how we're meant to sound.
Right.
I was very disappointed with Mr. Anderson. I just didn't think there was any bottom end in his performance, and it was a shame because the rest of the band sounded great, but there was no bottom end. It wasn't, and we walked around the whole area we were in, couldn't hear any bottom end at all.
So part of it too is, if you think about the JD, what is the JD really designed for?
Well, it is slapping, yeah, but still, fingerstyle, there should have been some level of bottom end. There was nothing. When he was playing fingerstyle, there was no bottom end. It was just top end clatter.
Either he had the EQ kind of boxed in, or whoever, maybe the mixer didn't know, or maybe he didn't know, you know?
Maybe he didn't. But again, this is what I'm saying. If they were using the sound man for the show and he didn't know what to do with either the speaker or the whatever he was using, I didn't even see what gear he had, to be honest. Once we came off, I got changed, went and grabbed food because I had to get to another gig. Let's see. There's messages here. Ollie, you'd think for a bass player, my thumbs would allow me to type a bit better. It's okay, mate. Spelling mistakes are killing me. You're fine. Michael Anthony, speaking for most Americans, please wear afros and flares. It is good fun, but it's been overdone here in the UK. Every disco band does that, so we don't. But we get a lot of attention. I can tell you, the looks and comments and reaction we get when we walk through an audience, if we're doing a corporate event or something private, and we walk through the audience in our gear, it's worth dressing up in this stuff just for that, because they love it. They absolutely love it.
Yeah, because you make them part of it.
Yeah, and it's something more to look at. Everyone's seen the big afros and the flares thing.
And
it's been done to death. Yeah, it's such a cliche. That was the other thing. But the whole Black Lives Matter kind of killed the possibility of doing that. It wouldn't have worked. Oh, is there a little bass solo coming on? I think there might be, you know.
We could have a few seconds of that.
Oh, no. I think that might have gone, actually. I think we might have done that. Yeah, they're onto a different song now. Oh, sorry, guys and girls. You missed the little bass solo there. I can't get in. I don't think I can get into that video to replay it anyway. Do that another time. I'll include that in the gig vlog.
There you go. Yeah.
It's all good. Mm-hmm. It's all good.
Yes. We'll take that.
So, yeah. So there we are with vintage instruments. That's I'm always very wary that you invest that money into it and just one thing goes wrong on it
and it's done.
Your investment gone. That's it. It's then any other bass, isn't it? Because and look, all you have to do is look on Facebook, Bass Chat, Talk Bass, anywhere that sells secondhand basses and people sell vintage instruments. Oh, it had a respray. Oh, I've had to change the pickup. Oh, I've had to change a tuner. Strap button's not original, and you lose half the value.
This is why. So you've seen this one before.
Yeah.
This is the Yamaha, right?
DB450, yeah.
Yeah, this is the cheapy model, right?
Mm-hmm.
Give $300 for this thing. Michael Anthony, that's for you. Since you put it in the chat. I paid $300 for this thing. If something goes wrong,
yeah.
This was made in 1987. So it's not new by any stretch.
Still
not new,
4
but
years old, my friend.
yeah. But the funny thing is, I can take it out and play it anywhere. I also use it for sessions and sort, but I can take it and play it anywhere. And if something happens to it, darn, I got to get another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I'd had more of a recording career, in terms of being in studios, then having vintage instruments kind of makes more sense, because you may well get people saying that's the tone I want. It's going to earn its money. It's never going in anyone else's hands but yours. You're carting it around between the studios. That would justify it in my mind. But because I've never had that, I've always pretty much been a live player. I haven't done any recording for a long while. And I never did a session apart from that infamous one where I used the T-bass and the guy said it hasn't got Fender on the headstock. But he wasn't looking for a Fender tone. He just wanted it to have Fender on the headstock. Other than that, I never had a situation where someone said, oh, you need to have a vintage jazz or a vintage precision.
Well, even here where everything is Fender. I mean, this Nashville is historically a Fender town. And because of that, we call it a Fender object, an FSO.
So if you don't have vintage 50s, 60s, 70s Fender stuff, does that mean you get blackballed when it comes to recording work? Okay.
Nope. No, because
so people's headspace is broad enough that they can accept that not everyone uses a Fender then.
Well, think about it. I'm in country music, right? So country music town, many of them want a 5-string because they want the 6 notes low. And, then if you play metal, you want to drop it to low A. So now you have more. And you're doing all of this kind of thing and all that. But generally speaking, if it has a level sound, which you can get from a Fender or a Fender-shaped object, it's fine. And then there's some folks that don't care what you bring anymore. They've broadened their horizons a bit where everything is not just jazz and precision. So, there have been some changes. I mean, it's the craziest thing when I walk into a session carrying a JD. They, what's that?
Yeah.
Because they don't know what it is, but I'm just like, close your eyes, shut up, and listen. And they go, oh, it's an alembic. No. Nice try, but no. So, choice. All choice.
Yeah.
At that point.
It's a tricky one. I mean, I know plenty of players on the London scene who do name work and what have you, and having going and blowing 3, 4, 5 grand on a vintage Fender, or Gibson or Ricky or whatever you want. That was all part of the journey for them. That's something they've sort of aspired to do. And then you see them on telly and what have you, and you think, okay, well, yeah, it's justified they're doing that level of work, but for me, it just always seemed like a perilous journey, that if you start to go down that road, and whether you're buying it just for the sound or the look or the traditional aspect of it, or you're buying it as an investment, all you need is one component to go wrong, and that's your investment gone. It's like buying a brand new car. You buy a brand new car, drive it off the forecourt, and suddenly a stone hits your windscreen, and it's like, it's the same principle, because that's where your money's tied up,
right?
Or again, a stone flies up from another car passing you, smacks on your bumper, and you get the old stone chip.
Well, even for people, let's throw a name for a moment. Have you watched or seen Glenn Hughes perform recently?
2017.
Okay. So I can tell you personally, because I spent some time with him some years back in the studio, what he records with and what he uses live are very similar, but they're not the exact same instruments. So what he uses live are those Nash basses, which are basically a recreation of the precision and the jazz, and they're aged out and all that sort of thing. When we were in the studio, out came his very pristine 3-tone burst 65 Fender Precision through a high watt and a 15. And okay, so what you're hearing on record and what you're live is similar, but you get the vibe of it, but you're not taking out the 60-year-old instrument, And so I think that happens a lot, honestly. I think, and, you know, again, around here, there's a specific, because if they're playing country music, they want a 5-string. That means everybody will walk in with a Sadowski. That will be the thing of choice for everyone.
Here's the thing. Last time I interviewed Glenn Hughes, he just come out with an Ibanez signature, right? And I remember talking to my editor going, what is this all about? He said, it's money, isn't it? They've offered to throw him, because he's a big Yamaha user, and something Ibanez would want is a bass player that uses Yamaha now using Ibanez. Yep. It's a no-brainer. And I asked him in the interview, I said, so I see you using Ibanez. Oh, no. He said, that's just an endorsement thing. I said, all right, so you're not bringing that out on tour? No, he says, Yamahas and Nash are what I use. I said, I know that, but you're publicizing a signature Ibanez model for you. Are you telling me you don't use that? Photo opportunities and miming. Right, okay, right.
It's not
mate. That's the whole story of endorsement deals from time immemorial. Very often, artists get paid a huge amount of money to endorse a signature model that they never play. Had no hand in creating, or checking, or nothing.
Right.
It was just someone in the marketing department at that company said, we should get hold of such and such and create a signature model. And then they do, but it's not what they use.
No. And the irony of that is I know people who have designed instruments and they actually do use them because they put them out there, and they have all kinds of trouble because the production models are not the same as what they were handed, even though they look alike.
Mm-hmm.
I pass. I can think of 2011. 2011, he could walk into Ernie Ball right now, pick up a Stingray from the assembly line and take it out. He wouldn't even think twice about it, because that's how he gets all of his instruments these days. Mm-hmm. Story. Because he said it many times.
Nuts, isn't it? And Billy Sheehan and his attitude. There's a man joined at the hip with his signature model.
No question. No question.
Crazy. Well, but then again, you see Billy being a perfect example of this. There's a player and a guy who created his own signature.
Mm-hmm.
All it needed then was for a company to come along and put the fine icing on the top.
Yep.
And give him all the artist support he could possibly want that Fender were never going to offer him anyway.
Right. And so they did it. And I mean, it's been 30 years.
Proof's in the pudding. Nearly 40.
True. Yeah, because they released the 30th anniversary.
36.
They released the 30th anniversary. Remember a couple chats back, we had Saul Watson on with us.
Yeah.
He has one of the 30th anniversary attitudes.
They only purple ones. Although I think he was trying to sell it.
No, the purple one is a 10-year.
Oh, you're talking about the Sunburst one.
The Sunburst one.
Yes.
There's only 30 of those.
That's right. Yeah, he's got one.
He's got one. And so, I mean, and of course, Billy has the prototype for it because I've played it. And so, again, you maintaining the relationship this long. I mean, think about it. So this is a question for Rich. How long have you played Status?
Since 1990. So about 35 years.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. And see, yeah. I've had my Attitude bass for 7 years, and I've had JDs at various times for the last 15 to 20.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, it's just one of those things. When you grab a hold of something that works for you, you don't let it go.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So in Billy's case, I mean, they've made improvements on the Attitude because the limited 1 is different than the 2. And the 3, of course, everything has adjustments and little tweaks and mods and bits and bobs and all that that have modified them. I mean, to where this thing right now, I mean, even to these 2 screws that go in on an angle right here that pull the neck in, this thing on the 3. The 2s don't have this. They just have bolts and a bolt here, And then, of course, then the other thing, the bridge is countersunk into the body. You know, this wasn't on the Series 2. So, I mean, there's when you get something and you grab hold of it and you live with it for a while, then why would you change? I mean, if you want to be the guy or the girl in some cases, because, you know, the ladies do this too, that if you have something that you like, but somebody says, here, I'll throw 10,000 at you. Play this. Oh, well, okay. I'm going to be sitting here I'm going to be doing this in the pictures, but again, proof is in the pudding. What do you record with and what do you use live? You know?
Exactly.
I mean, I've had this thing for 7 years now, and I've had a few others, but this one's the one that's always stayed because it was originally black. And I put this on every record I'm on, and every tour that I'm on, this bass goes. Because depending on what it is, depending on what music I'm playing, I don't have any reason to give this up or change out or have somebody make me a lookalike. You know, it's that thing. Plus, if something happens to it, I can phone up Yamaha and say, hey, I need this, this, and this. And I'll have a pack in the post before you know. Yep. Same with the JDs, honestly. I mean, if I need something sorted, all I have to do is reach out. And they're different enough.
But that's what you want. Even if you're an artist where you do have to pay for the bits and pieces.
Oh, I
you
do.
Just want someone to respond. Yeah. But you just want someone to respond with some urgency. Whereas a lot of these companies, they don't. They just go, oh, well, you know. I know actually when I got the Limited 2 Attitude, one of the saddles had locked. So the guy had sweated and it had rusted, and I filled it full of 3-in-1 and it was not budging. So I contacted Yamaha here in the UK and I said, look, I need to order some spares. And they went, oh, really? It was like, no one orders spares. I said, yeah. I said, I've got a Limited 2 Attitude here and I've got some problems with the bridge. I need to order some screws and a saddle. They said, well, we actually do like a bridge kit. So we'll send you like 4 saddles and a whole load of screws. I was like, great. Can I order one? They said, well, we've got to get them from Japan. I was like, right. And you don't keep that? No, because it's an artist model. There's so few of those that we produce compared to like all the other ranges. You can order it, but we can't tell you when it's going to arrive. So you're just going to have to wait for delivery. I was like, okay. I said, well, there's no rush. It's not I said, how long do you think I'll have to wait? Oh, probably about 10 days. That's not a problem. I can wait for that. Oh, you're right. You see, you don't need it for gigging. I said, not at the moment. No, it's fine. And lo and behold, a little package arrives from Yamaha Japan. Didn't even come via the UK office, just come straight from Japan. The guy ordered it when I was on the phone to him. He did it all there and then. He said, right, and just take your credit card payment, bang, and that was it. And it just, like I say, appeared in about 10 days.
Yeah, so, you know, over that's a great story. Over time, you kind of sort out what you're listening for. And we've talked about this before. I know where you have, you know, a room full of basses and you have all these sounds. And if you want to hear something and whatnot, you can do that. When you really settle on something that you can use in just about any and all situations, it's pretty hard to really worry about purchasing a room full of guitars when you have 1 or 2 or 3, maybe 4 that does all the work and you don't have to think twice about it, you know?
Yeah. The cranky world of bass buying.
In the code.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I
remember when I was younger, when I was starting out and you just wanted rapport with a company. You wanted them to be, what's the word? Not involved, but you wanted them to have some empathy with you. When things went wrong, you just wanted, and that's what I always got at the Bass Center. I didn't necessarily get it with any manufacturer or like company or distributor, but with the Bass Center, whether you bought anything whether you bought the instrument, amp, pedal, whatever from them, even if you didn't, you could walk in there and at least either one of the front staff in the shop, Chris in the workshop, or if you really hacked off. And if you bought something like I always bring it up, the Kubicki Factor, and at the time the UK didn't have a distributor because it was being dealt with by Fender as a licensed instrument. But if you had a problem or an issue with it, I could go straight to Barry at the Bass Center and say, look, I've got this Kubicki Factor, it's knackered. And he'd go, right, lads, sort him out, get the bits, order them direct, whether it's from Fender or Kubicki, sort it. When they're here, we'll tell you, bring the bass in, Chris will sort it out for you. It's like, I didn't even ask for that. I didn't even buy that bass here. The guy behind your desk sold it to me at another store, but it was like they took things seriously. Whereas sometimes you'd get in touch with a company or a distributor and they'd just be like, oh, yeah, well, you know, they weren't really that bothered. And you just thought, and then you start to question, well, why am I using this bass? Or why am I using this pedal or this amp? Because you don't care. You've had my money. You don't care.
Exactly. Well, and that goes along
those things, and those things stay with you.
They do.
So
and
as you go through your career, when people from that company or that distributor then come and sort of say, have conversations or want to rock up to something, and it's like, nah, I've been down that road before.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, I had endorsement deals, or you know, however you want to think of it, with different companies over the years. And it's so funny because in the last 20, 25 years, I've been searching for something, and now I have it all. And if I've got it literally in 3 or 4 bases, like I said earlier. I've had so many, and you know this, you know, because we've talked about it. But I mean, when you search for a sound, or you search for something, or maybe you listen to a recording of someone and you like that sound, and so you want to try to get that sound. So you go chasing after an instrument to try to get that sound. When you get tired of doing that after a while, and you figure out that you can make certain sounds fly with 1 bass or 2 basses, then the adventure goes away and you get down to actually playing, as opposed to, you know, having GAS, your acquisition syndrome.
Well, for me, I think you and I have had this discussion before.
We
Sorry
have, yeah.
if we're boring people on the live chat. But it took me probably till about 2002, so 7 years into a professional career, to think that I'd found the sound I wanted. So when I turned pro, I had the Kubicki, which I loved, and I've still got it here, and it's fab. But it wasn't the sound I thought I was after. And I still had in my head, and I've referred to this many times, it's on various videos here on the channel, it's on the live chat. I've even done a video today, which will probably go up tomorrow, on Shorts, about seeing Kasim Sultan play with Hall & Oates in Bournemouth in 1990, using a Spectre NS2 through an Ampeg rig. And I was absolutely floored. But I'd already had my head turned by what I was going to hear at that gig, because Hall & Oates had done a bunch of gigs at the Town and Country Club in Kentish Town about 3 months before. And one of those gigs was recorded and broadcast on Radio 1 like 3 weeks later. And the bass tone on there, I remember hearing it on the radio going, who is that? That ain't T-Bone. That's not T-Bone Walk. That's another guy. And I didn't know what bass it was. And then I turn up at the International Centre in Bournemouth, and I can see 3 basses on a stand, and one of them's the NS2, another one is a Warwick. I think it was a Dolphin. And he picked up the NS2 and played it, and I was about 4 rows from the front. That bass sound just hit you. It was like, Christ. And I came out of there thinking, Now, I knew down the road from where we lived on the south coast that the UK distributor for Spectres was in the next town, which was Top String. But I remember them advertising, they were always like $5,000. And I was like, well, I can't afford a $5,000 bass. But I knew I somehow had to at least be able to try one of these NS2s. And I remember ringing up the bass centre saying, you got any NS2s in? No, I haven't had any in for weeks, months. Because back then, trying to get hold of NS2s in the UK was quite tricky. And not made in huge numbers, even though Kramer were doing a good job at getting them out there. And they tended not to leave the US market too readily. People, whatever they could make got sold. So there was always like that backlog thing. And I just remember that sound just being absolute. But there was something in that sound that I thought, somehow I've got to integrate that. And for me, it was always a bit of a dichotomy, because you've got all the influences that I had and coming out what came out of me was an assimilation of all of those things. Well, it's a huge, broad range of tones. So you've got Chris Squire, you've got Mark King, you've got John Taylor, John Deacon, Marcus Miller, Billy Sheehan, Derek Taylor from Roachford, Melvin from Dan Reed Network. I was like, how do I put all of these into one tone? There's no one bass that can think of all those different instruments. It's like, how do you cover all those sounds? You can't. And I was always trying to think, well, can I do it with pedals? No, you can't. Can I do it with, well, we didn't even have modeling back then. But I remember when the Roland V bass came out, and that was like, whoa, this could be it. Pick up on the bass, find a bass. I love Stingrays. Stick that pickup. I'll be able to emulate all the basses. I couldn't do it. It couldn't do it. And then all the modeling stuff from Line 6 came out, and that couldn't do it either. And then I guess, around about 2003, 2004, and I got the Empathy at that point, and that was starting to tick all the different boxes where I could have this really big, fat bottom end tone with a really nice spiky top end that was great for slapping, good for Sheehan tronics, if you like. But you could reel all that in and get some really nice sort of kind of plummy tones and a nice tight finger. I thought, maybe this is it. And then, 2003, 2004, and I moved to EBS. Suddenly that was it. Boom. Oh, he's got... I click my fingers and he's gone. If I click him again, does he come back?
Magic Mike.
Yeah. Come back. Put 10p in the meter.
He's suffering from a flat battery on his phone,
I
probably.
think he's got something in that. Well, there we are, you see. If you come on here without your battery charged, you get what you asked for, frankly. But yeah, so that was it. And moving to EBS stuff, got the Empathy. String gauge was everything. I then still bought the GB because that was a different tone again. Oh, he's back. And to tell you, you keep a couple of 10p's in your pocket, you're laughing, aren't you? There we are. Yeah, so as I was saying, so once I moved to the EBS stuff, got the Empathy, strings, string gauge, found my tone. That was it. Gone. Yep. And it was like, and I listened back to any recordings from about 2006, 2007 onwards, and I can hear that's my tone. That's me. So that took 11 years, 10, 11 years to find that. So it's not a quick process.
No, it's not.
And it takes a lot of trial and error. Again, you've got to factor in that thing of buying a bass or buying a brand of bass and a particular model and it not being the sound you want. That doesn't mean all the other examples of that model are going to sound like that.
They're all different.
You can be put off.
Every
you
last
can buy something. Yeah, the whole putting off thing. Oh, well, I've tried one of them, didn't like it. And then you go in another shop, pick up another one out of curiosity. My one didn't sound like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Sounds like your JD story.
No, that was a different thing. That was a different thing. That was because the neck was all over the shop.
Speaking of that,
splits in the fingerboard,
do we have
splits in the body,
yes.
Splits. No, that bass had serious issues, and the preamp had been dicked about. Well, it wasn't there, was it? But no, that bass had issues. But even so, once I had the EMG circuit in, it just didn't suit the covers band I was in.
Right.
My Stingray did it.
Oh yeah, of course.
When I A-B'd the two on two separate sets with that band, the band went, "Don't bring that bass again. Sounds crap." It just wasn't suited to being in a 3-piece rock pop covers band.
No, and that's
the Stingray could do hands down.
Yeah, and that's where we talk about how you know, like we've spoken on a previous one, where if I'm doing a recording for someone, if I'm getting in to do a song, and I listen to the song will tell me what bass sound I need, and then I can just reach out to whichever side I've got, grab that, plug it in, and have a go, and see if it's right or wrong. You know, sometimes, you know, there's a bass just does not work. And something that you do on a consistent basis with this one instrument just doesn't get it, you know?
I've put up a couple of links on the community tabs on social media. We had a guitarist working with us a couple of months ago called John Beadle. Evening, John, if you're watching. You won't be watching, but anyway. And he does these things called Songs from the Shed, where he gets various musicians that he knows and singers and what have you, and he picks cover songs and they do it. So he's had me do 2. So I did Only When You Leave by Spandau Ballet, and I just did Voulez-Vous by ABBA.
Okay.
On each one, I picked out 3 different basses, recorded the same line 3 times with each bass, and then A-B'd them. And then again, that's the bass you see in the video, but what I'm playing in the video isn't the audio that you're hearing. I film a pristine, I record a pristine audio track and then film a separate video track. And that highlights how 3 different basses can be totally right or totally wrong for a song. So with the Spandau Ballet thing, I used the GB, I used Stingray, and I think I used either a States or a Lembic on it. And the GB sounded better because the strings were almost dead. There was a lot of moving about on that part, and I didn't want all the grindy string noise in there.
I would have used
really well. You would have what?
I would have used the well.
I don't have a wall.
We have to fix that. But anyway, because that would
that called you that sorted you out, didn't it? And then for the ABBA thing, again, I think I used the Empathy. Marcus Miller Jazz, and Betsy won out. So it sounded good. Now, I put that video up, and I've had so many people ask me, is that a Betsy you're using? But I didn't know a Betsy could sound like that. It's like, it is what it is. It's got EMGs, it's active, yeah, fine. I recorded through Aguilar tone hammer pedal, flat EQ with a very little minor bass boost, because although the Betsy is active, it's only active in the pickups, not active in the circuit.
Right.
So there's no active EQ there. It's either, yeah, you get the gist. So I was using the tone hammer just to give myself a little, in the bottom end. And that's all it is. That's all I've done with that. Otherwise, it's just gone straight in the audio interface. No effects or anything added. And it's compressed. Obviously, it's gone onto YouTube, so it's compressed. And I'm getting people messaging me, email me, going, how did you get your Betsy to sound like that? It's like, there's no magic formula. It's just a set of 4505 Rot Sound swing bass strings through this tone hammer with a little bass boost. That's it.
The rest is here.
And that seemed to work. That was the best of the three recorded tracks. So there we are. Quickly rattled through these messages. Ollie, do I know where my old JD is now? No, because I sold that in 2002. The only people that would have known where that went were the Bass Center in 2002. Bass Center in that form shut down in about 2008. It was sold on a commission sale through there. I think it sold for 1,100 quid, and I got about 850 for it. But I didn't care because I'd only paid 275 for it. So the one here is different. I don't know, it was all right. Not if I kept hold of it. How much would I got it for it now? Michael Anthony, may I give a shout out? Speaking of flexibility of tone for your Lakeland, yes, you can. I have 3 here. Yes, you can. It's not even one of the 100% made in the US. None of mine are. But I adore it. Love my 5-string so much. I got a 4-string Lakeland. They're great basses. Love them. Love them. I've got a 50, got a 5502, a 4402, and a 4464, which are all great. Love them. Love them. Love them. Ollie, indeed, Series 3, I believe. Yeah, in the background. Yeah.
Waiting for grubs.
Yeah, for me to put them in. Michael Anthony, don't even get paid for that comment. Wink, wink, Lakeland. No, none of us do, mate.
Nudge, nudge, say no more.
Don't worry about that. Lakeland aren't going to come onto my channel. I'm too small, sadly. But not me personally, the channel, of course. Yeah, right, up to date on the messages. That's all good. Let's just check everything else. It is 20 past 11 here in London town, here in the UK. We're going to sort of close down shortly, I think.
Yeah.
worn everyone out. Rich has got to get to bed, beauty sleep and all that. And and I've got to take my mum to the hospital tomorrow, so I've got a nice early start. I beg your pardon?
I said, Ollie's going to play bass for the next 2 hours.
Well, I'm very happy to. I'm just having a look at the community section of here, the top fans. So, Mr. Ollie Barron is number 1 this week on 225 points. Gareth Harrison, second on 200. And Sammy, who departed hours ago, is on 150. How did he get to 150? He only posted about 4 comments. Oh, well. Yeah, so well done, Ollie. Top form.
Cheers, Ollie.
So Ollie and Westford are the two main protagonists the past 2 weeks. Very good. So as you'll see on the chat now, if you look in the chat window, Ollie has got the crown and the number 1 badge next to his name. Gareth's got his number 2, of course. And Westford's up to number 3. Oh, well, you see, this is where things have changed because I've just refreshed that screen. So currently, yeah, Westford, you jumped up to 3rd. Well, how's about that? How's about that?
Mm-hmm. Ollie's asking.
Yeah, 275 is what I got it for. It was on Loot. So that was the forerunner to Gumtree.
Yeah.
So I bought many a bass off of Loot, and the guy was advertising it 275. He knew what he had, but he'd ripped the preamp out of it to put in a bass that he had built. He was a bit of a cock, to be fair. And I went round to his place in Holborn to test the bass out, and he didn't have a good amp. I think it was like going through a guitar amp or something. I remember getting it home, plugging it into my Hartkey stuff and thinking, this don't sound like a JD. Well, and then I opened it up and there was no JD circuit in there. It was a little homemade PCB board. It was crap. So I then went to the bass center about 2 weeks later and said, I need a JD circuit. And back then, the internet wasn't quite what it is now, obviously. And trying to get hold of JD was difficult then. It's difficult now. But Chris at the bass center had an old JD circuit, but it was literally covered in dust. And he said, I don't trust this to work. He said, and I don't want to sell it to you. And it mucks it up. I said, okay. I said, what do you think? He said, well, 3-band EQ. He said, why don't you stick an EMG circuit in it? And I was like, yeah, okay. I wasn't desperate. And put it in, and it was great. It gave it a real liveliness. But like I say, took the bass out on a bunch of covers gigs with my band, and it was like, this ain't doing it. Too throaty, too woody, too middly. Stingray was frankly pissing all over it. So at that point, I carried on using it because I was doing a Level 42 tribute at the time when I did 1 gig. And I used to spend more time setting the thing up than I ever did playing it. And it was just a real bind. And I just fell out of love with it. And it just used to sit on the wall, on a wall hanger. And then 2002, I wanted to buy, I bought Stu Clayton's Series 2000 Status. I wanted to buy an Empathy. And I was looking at changing my amp rig. So it was like, right, well, the JD can go. Because I'm not playing it. It's not going to get any better. The neck's all over the place. And I sold it. That was it. Put it in the bass center for a commission sale, and I think it went about 2 days later. So, Gareth, a close friend of yours is Paul Weller's touring bassist. I did see that message further up. Sorry, I wasn't ignoring it. We were just in the middle of conversation. And he uses Burns' new Sonic basses. Okay. I've not played a Burns in a long while. The bass center were their distributor for quite a long time. They aren't these days. I haven't played any Burns for a long time, but that's all quite apt for Paul Weller's stuff. He likes all that old school passive woolliness in his sound. And who am I to tell Paul Weller what's good and what's bad?
Well, the Bruce too.
Burns are fun. Yeah, they're old school. They are what they are, aren't they? You know what you're going to get.
No question.
So, yes, I wasn't ignoring your message, Gareth. It was just we were in the middle of chatting. Right, I'm going to wind it up because it's 25 past 11. I've got to get to bed and I'm up at 5:30. Lads, thank you very much for your time and your efforts today. Thank you to everyone that's been on the live chat. Michael Anthony, good for you to come in and see us here. We're here every Tuesday from 8 p.m. UK time. Always welcome. Thank you to everyone for coming on, celebrating my 30th anniversary of being a professional bass player. Very much appreciated. I've enjoyed the wine and the muffins, of course. Shorts will be going up. There will be some long form this week. I know I planned on getting load up last week, but other things in life sort of took over. So I'm out tomorrow, back on Thursday. Get a long form video up for you fine people. Live chat next Tuesday, same time as always. Thank you very much. Thank you to all new subscribers. Thank you for all the likes, shares, comments. Check out the videos. There's 3 shorts going up every day at the moment, which is going back through the old live chats and what have you. Check them out. There's some fun stuff in there. Every Tuesday, Mike. Yep. 8 o'clock.
Do it.
Thank you, Ollie. Very good. Happy 30th. Bless you. Well done. On that note, I'm going to say night to these 2 boys. So we'll just take you off there. Well done, lads. Fabulous stuff. And I will see you fine people in YouTube land next Tuesday. I'm out this week with Uncle Funk on Saturday. And yeah, all's good. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're watching this after the event, you can still leave comments, carry on the conversation if you wish. Other than that, have a great week. Enjoy your bass playing. If you're out gigging this weekend or during the week, drive safely. There's idiots on the road. Take your time. Don't rush about. And if you've got any questions, you can email me, brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com, or you can find me on social media. Other than that, have a great week. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Take it easy.